Welcome to the Cardboard Cave Podcast, the #1 show in Puerto Rico about trading card games. Thanks for Alter Sleeves for sponsoring our show. Use our affiliate link or code CardboardCave for 5% off your order and spice up your commander. Don't forget to follow us on our social media or listen to us in all major audio platforms. Thanks for being part of our community, and please like, share, and comment below. Plus enjoy the live show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cardboard Cave Podcast. After so long that I have not been in one of our live shows, I'm back once again to enjoy lots of talking about Magic the Gathering. Today was going to be the day, like we mentioned on our previous show, Playing Commander, that we were going to talk about Mark Rosewater's hint list, but apparently a big boom of spoilers apparently it happened of March of the Machines. So we're going to be talking about all the cards that have been spoiled, and we're going to go ahead and see which ones are interesting, which ones are not. And obviously we will do our episode where each one of us will talk about our top 5 cards of this upcoming set. So let's go ahead and no further ado invite our other host of this show, the one and only, our favorite director, the one that has won so many awards, the one and only Orengo.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Orengo? How are you doing? It's
All
been a
good.
long time.
Right, ready to talk about sweet cardboard because the eternal hype never stops.
I know, right?
Yep, never stops. Nope.
And then we're gonna go ahead and present our favorite host that is sometimes late, sometimes he's early, the one and only Chris.
He's
Well,
early
there.
today, so that's
Early
good.
today.
Yeah.
It was so funny because
You're not wrong, but how dare?
it was so funny because last week when we finished playing Commander, we actually mentioned, oh, we're gonna talk about Mark Rosewater's hints list, because we always do that. And then out of the blue today, it's like, oh, here's some spoilers. Here's an article from Forbes giving you more spoilers. We were like, what's going on?
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. Forbes made an article on
Yeah,
MTG
this is what happened. So early in the morning, I guess Forbes, well, they don't know about cardboard, so they just released the article like very early in the morning, and then I think they took it down, but they already spoiled the battle mechanic like at 5 in the morning.
It was
That
like the
is
first thing that
insane.
happened in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think Forbes threw this article like a little bit too early.
Mhm.
Hold
So
on.
yeah,
Since when is Forbes doing Magic spoilers?
No, right now, like Hasbro needs all the money they can get and all the investors they can get. So we're gonna talk about
Exactly, yeah.
sweet cardboard to 90-year-old billionaires so they can invest in our company.
Bro, I would hate Magic so much if 90-year-old billionaires got into Magic. Can you imagine like
It'd be horrible.
the way that like card prices would skyrocket because these guys just start hoarding like oh no.
Oh yeah, yep.
oh yes,
God.
oh yeah.
Buying all the secret layers, all of them.
So before we start, guys, I have to leave for 2 minutes. Give me 1 second. There's a baby bottle rush now.
Okay,
I'll be
awesome.
back.
Great.
To be fair, if the billionaires all bought up like a tons of secret layer product,
Mhm.
in theory, if they just like bought all of it, that would mean that there would be a bunch of secret layer product out in the secondary market, which would make the cards cheaper. So there's like some silver lining.
Theoretically, I guess it would all depend on what they do, because if they hoard it as if it was like stocks, for
Which
them
they
to
usually
increase-
do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
they
then
tend
it'll be
to.
yeah. But it's print to demand. I say secret layers to be like funny about it, but it's like print to demand. So as long as you buy it in the allotted time, like you're gonna get it at the price that it is. So
Mhm.
it's only for the people who couldn't get it, because I know that WotC can't like ship it everywhere, which is a big problem that they still have. But besides that, like everyone can still buy it. Like at
That
the
sounds insane to me, though.
yeah.
How
at
does
this
how
sticker,
does a $1 billion company at this level like have this kind of problem? It's like
Ah,
shipping.
logistics. I guess it's a logistical thing. Yeah.
Like we need to bring an expert in on this just to
Oh
like get
yeah,
a little bit more
definitely.
in depth here.
We should
'Cause
get
it
like a
sounds
Rudy or
strange to
something.
me.
Yeah, like a Rudy.
Ooh.
That'd be cool. Yeah. I liked a lot of the spoilers that we're gonna be talking about. I like the mechanic. We can talk about the mechanics while John gets here. What do you think about the battle mechanic?
Um, I still don't know how to like precisely feel about it because I feel like I need to understand it a little better from what I could gather so far, right? Essentially, like if me, you, and John are playing,
Yeah.
I essentially go, "Hey, I'm gonna give this battle mechanic to John to so he can defend it,
Mhm.
and we're all gonna smack in for a crap for like try to do that." But like my issue here is like, is there any kind of incentive for the other players to attack the battle mechanic?
There's not gonna be much of an incentive unless you want to clear out a specific player and you want to like pile on that player. And we're discussing this in the context of multiplayer, but obviously it'll probably
In 1v1 I get it, but
yeah.
it's a little weird because it's something you probably wouldn't get for like an aggro deck, for example, because
Yeah.
you're then concentrate. It's essentially giving your opponent a planeswalker for all intents and purposes.
It's sort of a trap. And I think Seth talked about this because sometimes control players play planeswalkers just for the sake of not being like not aggro players not hitting their life points directly. So you have a planeswalker which is essentially extra life on the battlefield. So you're giving the opponent essentially extra life on their battlefield for a specific effect that you want to get. But it could end up being a trap because if you focus too hard on the battle, you let the opponent steamroll and get a lot of stuff and a lot of resources, they might like steamroll you out of the game no matter what. It's on the other side of that battle that you give them, but that's on specific circle. It all depends, really. But I mean,
because I don't know if I just didn't read the battle like cards, like if I didn't read too hard into them, but it's 5 damage. Like on
it
most of
depends
them,
on the damage.
it's around like 5 damage, like a good like average so far, right?
Yeah, it all depends.
Like 5 damage in a 20 life format is a lot.
Yeah,
like it's the difference in between like the last 10 life and the last 15. Like it I don't know, it's a little wonky unless there's like something huge. I got like the slight feeling that battle cards are just really part of that old spirit of putting commander product in your set kind of deal.
Yeah,
like just straight up just to be able to sell more to commander players. That's what I see so far. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that's what I've seen so far.
One of the benefits that it has is that since it's a permanent, there are potential pathways where you can blink it for extra value, even though you're giving it to your opponent. But if you find a way to retrieve it or to bounce it back to your hand and get extra value, like for example, you pay into the royal with the kicker, you bounce the battle again, you draw a card, and then you replay the thing. Or if you have a way to like return that to your side of the field, like the battle card, you can then blink it with like a Brago, for instance, because it's a permanent, and then you get an extra value on that enter the battlefield, battle, siege, whatever thing. Like, for example, the explosive one, the explosive vegetation one, it's essentially explosive vegetation, but like on a permanent, which has a lot of more extra properties that you have. Plus, it has extra value if you actually kill it, because then it turns into a creature that's basically a chromatic lantern on a land. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's just a land that taps for mana for any color.
Yeah.
But it's also a creature. I don't know. It all depends on the properties.
It's still like huge. That's Invasion of Zendikar, right?
Yep.
Like, it's still 4 mana for what's it called? Like it's essentially
explosive vegetation. It's explosive vegetation.
Yeah, there we go. My bad.
Literally
it's explosive vegetation, and then just like you get to smack in for an extra land. It's potentially good, but I don't know. I think in more casual tables, definitely, but like already like higher levels of commander play, at least I don't see it. Even in standard.
We'll get into them.
I prefer playing a much more powerful 4-drop in standard. Like 4-drops are very powerful in standard right now. Like usually, like that 4-drop slot, especially if you're playing like, if you're playing black, well, obviously you're trying to put down your Elish Norn. If you're playing white, there's some people that are running the Vindicator on top of like running like a lot of low mana strategies. Like we're talking about what's this like the Venerated Rot Priest. There's a deck that runs the Rot Priest, but also runs this like mono white creature in which the whole point it's just to kind of like equip it with a bunch of stuff to give it like, you know, make it bigger, get it protected, and just smack in for toxic damage. And if toxic doesn't kill you, the damage does.
Yeah.
I'm just not seeing it at a converted mana cost of 4. The
That's fair.
only way that I can see it happening is if maybe the objective of your deck is to kind of it could work in the context of trying to, for example, push out your Atraxa quicker. Because in standard, they're like basically all the formats are using the whole like one of the top tier decks is basically just like Atraxa Reanimator. You know, just you mill a bunch of cards, you do a bunch of shit, bam, you get your Atraxa onto the battlefield, draw like 10 cards and anywhere in between like 10 to 5 cards off the top of your deck.
Yeah,
friggin' excellent, right? And I guess it could help, but the problem is that none of these decks are really aggro decks, so there's no point in playing the battle card unless you're, because any other way to do it, you're just winning more, right? At least with the current like running standard strategies, I could always be wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't see these the ones that I've seen so far and like read carefully so far. I don't see them like being played in standard much.
Okay, we'll get into them because I think there's an argument to be made for some of them. Not all of them, but there's some of them that they're just on face value. They're very good value if they were literally a sorcery speed card. But the fact that they are a permanent adds an extra layer of more value inherently based on their converted mana cost. So we can talk about them. John, you got them?
So yeah, I got them here. Go ahead. But what I was gonna tell to Chris, saying the fact that these are cards that are tying into more to get money from the commander players. But we keep saying that, but commander is still not a legit format in local game stores. That's something that we have spoken many countless of times when we go to our local game store. Our local game stores try to do tournaments, and the tournaments are of kind of wonky because it's pods, but standings don't matter because of house rules or whatnot. So it's like, you know, they keep giving us product. It's fine. We keep getting those cards to either just make a fun deck or just to add cards to a CDH or to a commander that we think that's going to run nice. But just make the format playable in the companion app. Like, make it like that we can go ahead and have a good way to put pods in your local game store, and we can actually do have a good point system for standings and not have to go through house rules. And then when people get out those doors, they're like, I'm gonna keep playing the tournament, but I don't like how it's done, you know. So
it's actually a subject that I would definitely like to like cover in another podcast sometime.
Yeah, we can.
Because before we used to have this whole like there was like an argument to be made about, oh well, the thing is that rules in a multiplayer setting can be a bit difficult to like, you know, to mitigate for like tournaments and the whole concept of like king making and all these things. But then they made Oathbreaker a legit format. So I used to use the multiplayer format argument a lot. Like I would talk about how like, you know, it's like a difficult thing to like play around. So I would understand. Now I don't. Now I don't understand. You made Oathbreaker a sanctioned format.
Yep.
So like is the plan to just try and play Oathbreaker 1v1 and not tell us about it? Or is it just to
It all depends when they release like a little deck, like they did with the Brawl thing. They released like 4 decks of Brawl and they never touch Brawl ever again. So we might eventually get like Oathbreaker decks like once, and they're gonna like see if there's any interest, and if not, they're just gonna let it die. I'm not invested. Like if we're gonna get into the conversation of Oathbreaker, we tried this already in our local game store. We tried it when it first started came out. Like I did like a couple of decks. I was really pumped. I even did like a Nicolo Bolas deck. I did like a Roz deck.
I remember. I think all of us had
remember
like
I made a brawl deck and an
three.
Oathbreaker deck.
Yeah, we all had brawl decks
that.
and Oathbreaker decks. Like it was something that we enjoyed, but again, you know, you
I was
bring
making
this
Narset Windfall at the time. That was great.
Yeah.
yeah, like you, but the issue in hand is that you bring these formats to the table, and then you're like, okay, cool, we have these formats that are legal in Magic the Gathering, but what happens to Commander? Like you know, half of your content creators are commander focused content,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
you're still not making it a legit format where me as a player can go ahead and be like, okay, I'm gonna go today to my XYZ local game store to see to get my companion app, and I have the pod that I'm going to assist, and depending on my points,
Hmm.
that's how I know I'm first, second, or last,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But having some local game stores be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do pods, and we have a house rule on how the standings go, or we're gonna do 1v1, but we have the this ban list is the one that you have to use. um you might have local game stores that, oh, we only play high level CDH, so we accept proxies, but you have to have at least a percentage of your deck has to be legit, and some of the cards can be like proxied. There's so many
Yeah, that's
things
a
that go
whole
on.
that's a
That
whole other
exactly.
monster, dude. That's
True.
a whole other
This is
monster.
just another conversation for another
Hmm.
episode. So,
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
but let's go ahead and go to our March of Madness. Um,
Before we move on, I guess I just want to kind of like leave everyone with like this last like little question, right? Why is Wizards of the Coast trying so hard to find a commander substitute? What's the part that they haven't been able to monetize? Where like what is it that bugs Wizards of the Coast so much about Commander that they have been trying for years to get a substitute on the table? I don't know, just something for everybody to think about.
I mean, the
Uh,
answer is pretty easy. That's why they tried doing Brawl, because the problem with Commander is that it's eternal, and the second problem is that
so is
since it's
Oathbreaker.
eternal, but the thing with Oathbreaker is they could probably introduce cards specifically for Oathbreaker to kind of incentivize people to buy stuff. What
mhm,
my guess is, and what I think is happening is that Commander players, and this is known because of local game stores talk about Commander players sometimes, in the sense that they don't buy new product. They just have their rinky dinky deck from 3 years ago, and it's still valid on the table today. Like, it's still going to be useful. And it
exactly.
happens to us. Like, we build decks, but then we stay with those decks for a little while. And if not, we make a new deck. We might just buy the one new commander, and we already have our pool of cards, and we just restructure everything else to make the new
Mhm,
deck, but we don't buy new product. That's why they're always trying to push new either legends or exclusive cards for commander, trying to incentivize commander players to buy stuff. But I don't think that they're buying at the rate that they're hoping. So maybe with Outbreaker or maybe with Brawl, which they already tried, they're trying to make it a way where they can shift Brawl into being like sort of standard or pioneer legal. So it always has a rotating
Well, that
fluctuation of
that
cards.
is what they've done with Brawl. That's the reason why Brawl fell off in the first place, because
Yes.
it's not an eternal format.
Yep.
Everyone was excited. I remember I was excited because I thought it was going to be a tiny leaders kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
no, it wasn't. It
Yep.
mhm.
was specifically made with the purpose of like, being only like standard legal. And it's like,
Yeah.
why would I want to play a rotating format when if I wanted to play a rotating format that badly, I can just play standard?
Correct.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but then
Especially if
you
you're just giving me like the 1v1 option, because they don't even tell you like, oh, Brawl is made to be a multiplayer format. They just kind of
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah, and when Brawl came out, everybody just got excited to buy the commanders, the Brawl decks to make them their own commanders. And for example, myself, I've been playing Joda for a long time. I broke Joda like a week ago just to be like, you know what, I want to build other decks
Yeah.
because I went to one of our local game stores tournaments and I built Lathril very differently. And I was like, wow, this was interesting. And I had fun. I want to play something different. So I'm like, Joda, bye bye. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to try and do more CDH decks and have a couple of fun decks just for low power tables. But, it happens. Oh, I broke this deck. Now I can make that one,
Mm-hmm.
complete that one, or just make a whole new one. So
And commander players buy proxies. And Wizards doesn't want you to be buying proxies, but that they're the ones that allow proxies to be a thing in the first place. So it's on them.
it's like I told some of the guys, and I
Mhm.
understand that some of them were like disagreeing with me, but it's like um we have the world championship decks, right? Some of the cards that are included in those decks is Grim Monolith, Chrome Mox, and Gaia's Cradle. Gaia's Cradle is still a very expensive card. It's going for a card that you cannot use in tournaments is going for $120. But Grim Monolith and Chrome Mox, you can find them easily for $13, $15, depending on the vendor. So you have the card.
I mean,
even
but
though it does not,
that's for like the gold border, no?
yeah, that's the gold border.
Yeah.
You have at least the card, even though it's not legal, because even though if you have the proxy is not legal, but you have the card in your hands with the legit Magic the Gathering logo on the back. So you have a legal proxy,
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, but you can't use it. Yeah, but you can't use your proxies either way in tournaments. So you have a legal proxy at least, with the Magic the Gathering logo on it, And the other thing is, guys, well, I'm going to say it again. Fetch lands. The ones from Modern Horizon are still cheap.
Yep.
Buy your play sets before they go up in price.
Yep.
Well,
True.
buy them. Because if you are a commander player and need those fetches, even though they're not your colors, buy them. Like that, you can go ahead and have your fetches and enjoy your commander a little bit much more. Or future commanders, right? So let's go ahead and go with the spoilers. I think because if we keep on, we're going to have a whole totally different episode today. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the spoilers tonight. We got them by date. So today was the day that it went a little bit crazy. Very crazy. I think it's stupidly crazy.
Yeah.
We even got I think a secret layers as well were announced today. The commanders and some plane chase as
What I
well.
wasn't sure about is are those just like separate cards from Secret Layers that got spoiled, or is it just like the actual?
It was just the D&D stuff, right?
No, the DN one of them were the
There was that
DND,
too. Yeah.
the DND ones, and then the other ones that were spoiled were volumes. I don't have them with me, but they were like divided by volumes. The cards are not that great. I have the pictures at least here, like that I can at least mention the cards that are going to be available.
Yeah.
Okay, so volume one will have Wheel and Deal.
Okay.
In the Street of New Capenna border, Questing Beast, Olivia Voldaren. I think the volume one is the one that has the most value. It has a walking ballista in the masterpiece border. And then it has the world tree in the Kaldheim style The volume 2 includes Sancha Sleeper Agent, Mina and Den Wildborn, Dragon Lord Colligan, Nezahal Primal Tide, and Higui the Still Wind. That's volume 2. And volume 3 brings Joyra Weatherlight Captain, Nyx Bloom Ancient, Kolga the Titan Ape, Utvara Hellkite, and Misdirection. Those are the 3 volumes of Secret Lair that we're getting.
I'm not a fan of the incoherent art stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like it when my secret layer only has like one art style bound to that secret layer.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like one artist,
yeah,
or
one artist,
theme?
one, yeah,
Exactly,
Gotcha,
one theme.
gotcha.
It feels just so much more collectible to me.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I
know.
think-
That's just like a personal
I
taste kind
think
of
that
deal.
they're doing it because, like, in this set, there's those cards that have like the different art styles that you can find, Ragavan in the
Yeah,
masterpiece.
basically just
format.
so they make sure that all the stuff that didn't make it into
Mhm.
the set because for some reason they decided to make a 50 card set.
Yeah.
Instead of just sticking all of those secret layers into the set, let's make
Exactly.
them secret layers
Let's
so
make
that
more.
you have
Wait,
to spend more money if you
Which-
want to build up like your whole collection. That's
Yeah.
it.
So
it's
did
pretty crazy.
Magic turn to Yu-Gi-Oh?
Magic's been Yu-Gi-Oh for a while. Magic's
Honestly,
been Yu-Gi-Oh for a
though,
while. And even then, you know what? I'll be
Yeah, go
fair to
ahead.
Yu-Gi-Oh. At least Yu-Gi-Oh reprints more frequently, so I'll
That's
give them
true.
that. Yeah,
That's true.
I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They reprint way more when they realize something's gone awry very quickly. Like there's a secret rare that's like $150. They're like, okay, in 7 months we're gonna reprint the shit out of that.
How
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
were these 3 cards expensive back in the day, and now they've been reprinted so much
So
that
much.
don't
They're
have value?
worthless. They're literally worthless. Yep, I know. Yeah, it did take a long time. It really didn't.
Power scaling, am I right?
Yeah, I know it's insane, but yeah, I mean I agree with you in the sense of the wildly different art styles within like one little volume. Because the worst part is like they divided it in 3 segments instead of at least giving you
Yes.
like one box of all these secret layers.
Exactly.
But you know, I understand that. But I guess for this one, it's what John said. It's the whole thing about like trying to capitalize on the different art styles. You are scrolling
it's
way down, buddy. It's
No,
not
yeah,
that down.
I was gonna check if the D&D cards are here, but that's odd.
I
They're not
know
here.
because they haven't technically been spoiled, and I think that page may not have put it because it's not technically like a spoiler
Okay.
thing that was like official. It's still unofficial. I think they're waiting for the movie to actually come out for them to officially release the
But I think
information.
I mean, maybe
think
they'll
that
announce
the secret
tomorrow, because
layer
tomorrow
page-
is when they start like their like spoiler week, like putting all the like legit spoilers on like the streams, no? Like the live stream.
Yeah, it's gonna start tomorrow. Like today was like the preview, like the opening the door of everything, the mechanics and such. And now we're gonna be getting for the next couple of days, like different content creators giving us little tidbits of new cards and such. But we got like a decent bulk today. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
but
That's
they
it.
already been they have
Oh, that's
their
odd then.
website is already up.
Oh, that's weird. Okay,
Oh.
well there you go. We'll talk about them. Yeah, that one's
So-
insane. Let's just talk about that. That one's insane
So
already.
yeah. So if
Horrors.
everybody knows, Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves is gonna be available not this week, the next upcoming week. I think it's
Nope.
April.
No, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Yep,
Really?
it's tomorrow. It's very fun. I'm gonna give you my quick review. It's
Guess
great.
I'm
If you
going
like
to the movies
D&D,
tomorrow.
it's the best D&D adaptation ever. It's really fun. It's like Lord of the Rings with Guardians of the Galaxy. You're gonna have a lot of fun. Like it has no business being as pretty fun and enjoyable as it is, but it's really entertaining. So you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. I
Yeah.
am so excited about it. So Wizard of the Coast, obviously, we all know that sometimes it comes with big surprises. So the Dungeons and Dragons secret layer drop is available now to pre-order. So you can get them foil or non-foil. We have Senek, Paladin Unbroken, a legendary creature human knight, 2 whites and 2 double strike. Auras you control have exalted, and it's a 2/4. So exalted does the following for all of our listeners: whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each instance of exalted among permanents you control.
That one's insane because of
That
the
is
exalted thing. Like
Spicy.
you stick that in like light paws, you're gonna go to town. Like that's
Exactly. That's what I was
crazy.
gonna say.
Honestly,
really
I would
good.
love to just like do the jank version in which I just make Zank my commander, even though Light Paws is like the more efficient choice. But
Yeah.
with that double strike on there,
Mhm.
oh
Yeah, but you can give life pass double strike real
Real quickly.
no, yeah, definitely.
I
but-
love it.
Mhm.
Just
It's
just
really cool.
having this guy in your command zone and just consistently being able to just be like, okay, Zank is on board, and everyone just looks at you like, yes.
Yep.
All right, next turn. I'm gonna protect him so nobody can target him. Is like, okay. And then he already has double strike. The aura hasn't exalted, so he's already getting the +1/+1. That's already 6 commander damage to somebody's face.
Yep.
Gonna give him protection from like all colors but white, essentially, and then just like make it so I can keep smacking you in the face. Okay, this is fun.
I want to play all that glitters. It has plus X for all my enchant
Jeez.
auras and enchantments
Easy.
in the game.
Like you
Crazy.
just put two auras. You just do like the one that gives you +1/+1 for all your planes, and then +1/+1 for all of your auras, and then on top of that they both have exalted. That's already like that's already an
Yeah.
insane amount of damage.
It is.
That
I'm gonna
is-
say this.
I think that's enough to kill somebody. I like through commander damage. That's insane because you have to have at least 4 planes. Let's say 5 by the time you get to the next turn,
Mhm.
and it's 4 mana to play like the whole the rest of the configuration.
Yep.
So you're looking at a potential of 5 planes. So that's +5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 9 plus the 2 on top. That's already 11 like double strike. That is literally enough to kill someone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just your paladin and 2 auras. That's insane. All right,
That's
this-
insane. Yeah.
I'm done with this guy. Just
It's really good. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Orengo. Go with.
Oh, this one's pretty fun, even though it has the dice mechanic gross. But it's called Simon, Wild Mage Sorcerer. It's 2 colorless and a blue. For a legendary creature, human elf shaman, it's a 1/1. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 3 or greater, roll a d20. 1 through 9, each player draws a card, disgusting. 10 to 19, you draw a card, good. And then 20, you can copy that spell. You may choose new targets for that copy. It's really cool. Like if you stick him in like extra turns matter deck, you can get maybe an extra turn, or you can at least draw your value, but it has to be like hefty costed spells to be able to maximize the potential that this guy has. It's cool. I don't like the randomness of like throwing a d20, but it's flavorful for him because obviously he's a D&D character. It's pretty cool. It's pretty
I
cool.
think it's very flavorful, especially because of the whole wild magic aspect of it. I would have
Exactly. Yeah.
There's one like little idea that crept into my head that definitely I don't think works as well on paper, but in something like Magic Arena, having Simon, for example, like do literally what a wild magic sorcerer does. You cast a spell and you get like a chance at a wild magic, like just a random like card. Like let's say, for example, in historic, now you have like the Oracle of the Power 9 or whatever, which makes like a bunch of like copies of the Power 9 and puts them into your library. Well, a concept like that, like let's say you cast a spell with mana value 3 or greater, you roll the d20 and get one of the 20 different spells on there. Is like you get you conjure, you get no, but instead of conjure, I would say just like straight up cast. But yeah, maybe that's a little bit too much.
Be kind of strong. Although if it's like 20 options, I think it's fair. I think that would be kind of fair.
Not just that. If you get something like maybe you get like the d20, like let's say you're just like, oh well, you get the d20, you roll it again, and you cast the spell for free instead. Maybe like something like that. It would be cool.
That'd be cool.
But I find this entertaining. I think this would be fun in actually there's the coin flip and dice roll deck that's like been floating around. So that's probably a pretty good option there.
Yeah.
It is. Next card. Take it away, Chris.
Forge, Neverwinter Charlatan. He comes down for 3 colorless and a black. He's a 2/4 human rogue with menace. He has ward, sacrifice a creature, which just sounds so annoying. He gets +2/+0 for each treasure you control. Whenever one or more players sacrifice one or more creatures, you create a tapped treasure token. This ability only triggers once each turn. Because of course, this guy was just a sentence away. Yes, but also this guy was like a sentence away from being the other stupid black card that does the same thing but better. I forgot his name. It's Deadeye, like the black card that combos off with everything. With all the sacrifice decks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like he comes down for 4. He just doesn't have like any of the rest of the text. The only thing it does is that whenever you like a creature on your side of the board dies, you make a treasure. Pitiless plunder.
Yeah.
This guy was like almost a pitiless plunderer, and then they were like, "Hey, maybe we should like not make that card again." You know, like in the command zone, like maybe not.
This card in Negan's 99, stupid.
Yeah, definitely in a deck like Negan in which you need the ramp rather than like because in mono black I don't think this is as good.
Yeah. But with Negan, because even though its ability is this trigger only once each turn, but one of the things that you do with Negan's commander is that you flicker him in each opponent's turn if you want to, and you get the fact that they sacrifice a creature, and you get a treasure with Negan, and you get a treasure with him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Negan gives you treasures?
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
No, he makes walkers, doesn't he?
Like zombies?
Don't scare me like that, because honestly,
I think like zombies.
The idea of Negan making treasures is scary, bro.
Yeah.
That is spoopy.
Yeah, I'm glad that
an opponent sacrifices a creature, you create a treasure token.
Oh shoot! I forgot about that.
Lucille is whenever equipped creature attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature. If they do, you create a walker token.
Right.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Okay. So insane.
Yeah,
I'm glad
insane.
these guys like
Exactly.
nerfed because they realized very quickly that making untapped treasures like crazy was a bad idea. So this is like
Yeah.
the fixed version of that, the fair version.
hmm The
Yeah.
A
other thing
fair
is that
Negan.
this
That is
card,
that why he's like posing with like the
Exactly.
crossbow like that.
Exactly.
the other thing is that he gets buffed by each treasure token, so it's very interesting. Has the
Mhm.
word and the menace. I think the menace is one of the things that like makes it a little bit much more,
Yeah, he
you
can be
know,
in
You can
beater. He
you
can
can
kill you with
exactly.
commander
definitely
damage.
build around him so well, especially because you have so many mono black cards that just like
hmm
make your
Yep.
opponent sacrifice stuff at
Exactly.
instant
Exactly.
speed. So it's like my turn. Okay, put down a creature. The creature says like I forget the friggin' name, like fleshback marauder,
Mhm.
and then like maybe sacrifice my marauder, sacrifice something else. Everybody sacrifices a creature. I only make one
Shieldred.
treasure, but it's
Shieldred.
still.
Shieldred sacrifices creature as well in their upkeep
Oh, but she
and
costs
smoke.
7.
Yeah, I know,
Jeez.
but then there's
Yeah.
what's it called? Smokestack?
Mhm.
Smokestack,
Oh
right?
God. Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's a 4 drop. It said 4 drop that I think it's for each smoke counter you sacrifice that number of creatures, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
They'd have to
So yeah.
figure out how to put more creatures on board. Like, I personally wouldn't build around Smokestack just because I don't want to have to sacrifice like my forge for all intents and purposes. But definitely still works. Like as long as you can get some good synergy there, anyways. Like it's insane.
Mhm.
So let's go ahead with the red. It's Holga,
Hot. I mean,
Relentless
what?
Rager. A 4 and 2 red legendary creature, human barbarian. She has haste. Holga Relentless Rager must be blocked if able. Whenever Holga attacks each creature you control, attacking a player gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each creature that player controls. And she is a 4/6.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's pretty
I
solid.
enjoy it. I enjoy it. It essentially punishes like your opponents for for having a huge board.
Mhm.
hmm
Um, the fact that they have to block her is pretty darn insane. Um, Not a fan of her mana cost, but that's just a me thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Not a fan of the
it's a
mana
little
cost.
high costed. Yeah, it's a little high costed.
It is. It is. It's a little
Yep.
high costed.
Mhm.
Next card. I think this is my favorite one of the bunch besides the Paladin.
Yeah.
So Doric, Nature's Warden is 3 and green. Legendary creature, Tiefling, Druid. Vigilance. When Doric Nature's Warden enters the battlefield, search your library for a forest card. Put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Whenever Doric attacks, you may pay 1 and green. If you do, transform her. Let's see if we have. There we go. Doric Owl Bear
It's
Avenger.
insane.
Legendary creature, bird, bear, vigilance, trample. When this creature transforms into Doric Owl Bear Avenger, other legendary creatures you control get +2/+2 and gains. They gain trample until end of turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, transform Doric, and it's a 6/6.
Yeah.
This card in Joda, if you have Joda
Hmm.
creatures, legendary creatures, this card is ridiculous.
Mhm.
Yep. That's the
Yep.
first thing I thought when I saw the darn thing.
Yep.
I was
It's like
like,
a weird crater hoof for legendary creatures.
I know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
You
And you
know,
get
yeah, go ahead.
no, you get the buff from Joda, and then you get the buff from Doric. Yeah,
Yep.
sure, why not?
It's insane.
I don't enjoy that they found a way to save money on like the like this character's makeup job because usually like she's supposed to be a tiefling and I don't know I usually expect like tieflings to have like either the gray skin that's characteristic I think it's of Mephistopheles tieflings or like
Mhm.
having like the Azra I forget the names of the demons right now but like the red tieflings and then there's but then we got like there's ones that have like that are closer to like like more like human skin colored but they
Mhm.
tend to be like more yellowish. Like they just have demonic skin colors usually, and I don't know.
Oh, but
Just
there's an explanation for why she
they
looks
made
like
her
that,
mega
though.
white.
Because
Okay,
there's an explanation in the story. Yeah,
You
I know
okay,
have
what
to
you're saying.
watch it in the movie.
Yeah, yeah. Just watch it in the movie. They
okay.
explain why. It's a cop out, I guess, in terms of what it is. But there's an explanation for people like you
Okay.
who are gonna be like, oh, she doesn't look like an actual tiefling.
I thought she was just a random elf druid, to be honest. But
No, that's fair.
I'm okay with her being a tiefling. I like it, but like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just like I don't know. I kind of
yeah,
wish
yeah.
I had
They
my
explain it.
little
They
like
explain it.
demonic looking like like mi diablita. ¿Dónde
This is it.
está? What?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the last card of the bunch. Take it
Yeah.
away, Orengo.
So this Edgin, Larcinius Lutenist, legendary creature, human bard. It's a 3/3. It's one colorless, and is it colors? Each non-land card you in your hand without foretell has foretell. So this is already a better foretell the commander than the other foretell commander we used to have. Its foretell cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 2. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, go to target creature and opponent controls. This is very flavorful in terms of what the character is, because all this character is in the movie, he's like a planner, but he's like a scaredy cat. So it's like both mechanics into one card. He foretells plans, and he doesn't want to fight anyone, so he's like goading everyone around him. Um,
Hmm.
because of the first part, he's the best foretell commander for a mechanic that I kind of enjoyed a little bit, but when it came for the actual commander in that set, it was dog shit. It was horrible. So at least we got like a little redemption for that mechanic in this commander. So anyone who actually wanted to ever do a foretell commander deck, there you go. You got
There's
that.
just one thing that is extremely sad about this.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that thing is red white, and there's so many fun foretell things going on in blue white.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you make it just guy? Like, I get it. It's probably like for flavor reasons, and because this dude is clearly not a just guy character. He's got the chaotic like thinking of like a bard. I
Exactly.
get, like, I understand that,
Yeah.
but darn it, I just wanted a just guy like foretell card so I can use all of the foretell like
Mhm.
mechanics that are good in a single deck. However, I guess we just don't want foretell to be good.
Yeah,
Moving
but
on.
can you use a companion
The
to add
companion
the
has to be
white?
in your colors.
It has to be in your colors. Yeah.
The companion has
Oh,
to be in your
okay.
Yeah, you
colors.
can't use any companion you want. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that as you could say, like as you said, it's because he's chaotic, but also because I think they design all these characters so you can put them all in a 5-color deck. They all have the colors you need to like put them
Mm-hmm.
all together in one deck. That's why you can't be like all colors or 3 colors, because I think it would be unfair. But I agree with you. It would have been amazing if they just would have made them 3 or maybe 4 colors just to make foretell doable. But
Mhm.
it is what it is. I guess it's at best at least you get a chance to make is it stuff into
Mhm.
foretell, which I think it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, it's still
Yeah,
pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah.
I enjoy. I really enjoyed this secret layer. Like it looks fun. It looks fun. So this is the secret layer that it was presented to us.
Mhm.
I imagine that when it's released, or any content creator that gets it early will leak the bonus card
Yeah.
that it could be
Whenever it comes,
anything.
could be
Yeah.
literally anything. Yep.
So let's go ahead and now go to what we came for reals is the spoilers that we got throughout the week, that some of them have been thrown by Wizards, and then we have the Forbes article. So Elsbeth is back
Yep.
as a
Hmm.
planeswalker
Back.
and 4 mana,
Yep.
and she's stupid strong.
I love that the +1 is a blocker.
I know, right?
It's already kind
And
of
it gives
insane.
you and it's lifelink. Let's
Yep.
put that in perspective.
Yeah.
So Archangel Elsbeth, 2 and 2 white, legendary planeswalker Elsbeth. +1, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. +2. I mean -2, my bad. -2. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types and gains flying. -6. That it's like literally 2 +1s away.
Mhm.
Return all non-land permanent cards with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and she has 4 loyalty.
Excellent aggro like Oathbreaker
Hmm.
commander right there.
Right. Yep.
I would love to build that. It doesn't even have to be an angel deck. It just has to be a white weenies deck that just like te pasa por encima, and you just and at some point, once everything is like gone to shit, you can
Mhm.
just keep like playing around with the Elspeth until you ult. This is
Exactly.
great.
Basically.
This is
Yep.
dumb. This is dumb.
Really good.
I think my signature spell would be like the X spell that like kills everything and then just leaves you with 5 creatures on the battlefield. That would be it. Like,
Yeah.
Is it? I think it's called Marshall Corp, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, because they Marshall Coup, I think it is, but they have that one
Yeah.
and they also have like the new one, which is like with the mites. You
Oh,
make
right.
5 mites.
Mhm.
If you make more, if it's X is 5 or over, it does shenanigans.
I'm
Yeah.
getting ideas. Hold on.
Yeah, it's really strong.
I like the card. I like the
Yeah.
card. It's really interesting. It brings a lot of flavor, at least for standard players, because this will be a card that it will be used. So it's very
Definitely.
flavorful.
Yeah.
And Ren is back.
Ren and
Yes.
the Realm Breaker. They're like, I don't
So
think
good.
Ren has a bad card, man.
No, and this one's kind of stupid good. Yeah.
Who
I'm
wants
going to
take
read it.
over?
I'm going to
Yeah.
read it. So Ren and Realm Breaker. It's a 1 colorless and 2 green for a legendary planeswalker with 4 loyalty. So if you're thinking Oko, you might be right. It already has a static ability, so it's already better than Oko. Lands you control have tap at 1 mana of any color. So it's a chromatic lantern. It has a +1 up to 1 target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with vigilance, hexproof, and haste until your next turn. It's still a land.
Really?
So a
It has
+1, it's
vigilance
already
and
a creature. Then -2, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. And then the -7.
Moldralta.
Oh yeah, -7. You get an emblem with. You may play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard.
It's insane. An emblem. An
It's
emblem, bro.
Yes, sir. An emblem.
Like, I'm glad that's a -7 because the only place in which, well, the only place in where that -7 should go off is in like a Super Friends deck, essentially. But that is absolutely insane.
strong.
That
A
is
+1 for a
not
3/3
okay,
blocker.
bro.
It's
That
a
is not
+1.
okay.
So think about this. It's a turn 3 planeswalker that ramps you, gives you a blocker, and that's the +1. If for some reason you are strapped for lands, you can always -2, which I don't think you need to, honestly, but you can -2, mill yourself a little bit and get any permanent from the mill card. So it could be a land, or you could be like an actual other planeswalker or whatever. And then somehow, which you might be able to pull off, the -7, you just auto win in the game. Automatically.
Exactly. Like if you just -7 and you have like a Lotus Petal, you already have infinite mana, and then it's just whatever from there.
You can
Like
just
who
whatever.
cares?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's too good.
You
So
can
it's so
use this. You can use this with the gauntlet.
Yep.
The gauntlet.
The gauntlet from Phyrexia will be 1.
Yep.
If you make a Super Friends standard deck,
Mhm.
you can go ahead and have play Ren, or if you have Ren already in play the gauntlet, and if you have a second planeswalker, you can use proliferate with that planeswalker and get to the 7 pretty much more quicker.
Yep.
That's a little insane.
It's pretty
Yes.
crazy. Yep. Pretty crazy.
It is.
Oh, wait a
It
minute.
is.
I just realized. Hold on. He makes the tree person until the next turn.
Yeah, until your next turn. Yeah.
Yep. That's
So
why
it's like-
it has a block. It gives you a blocker.
It
Blocker that's
gives you a
land.
blocker that just protects itself on the next turn, because a thing that would potentially be a problem with, for example, with Nissa, is that since it was permanently a 3/3, a lot of times I would just kind of like watch it, let it do its thing, and then just start killing off his lands. Here, if he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to risk his lands, and he can just let it like go back to his go to the back if he needs to. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, this card is
Like
stupid.
it doesn't overwhelm you like Nissa does, because Nissa, for the same reason, because the lands stay on board, you keep generating creatures, so it eventually can just kill you land-wise. So I'm glad that's not an option with the 3 mana planeswalker that comes down with 4 loyalty. But
but you have
still really fun.
You have a 3/3 on the board with vigilance, hexproof, and haste.
It's
and
the
it's-
hexproof for me, like
It's like stupid,
Hexproof is
man.
insane. It's not even
Exactly.
ward.
Oh,
They
so,
go-
so I'm,
they
gonna-
just
I'm,
give
I'm
you
gonna
hexproof.
+1. Does it resolve? Okay, so I just make like this dude a thing, and there's like nothing you can do about it. Like
Yep.
I just make him a dude.
Make him a
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
And
oh,
I
you
can
want
just
to
ramp
burn it?
into
Oh,
more
I'm
stuff.
sorry. Like mono red just is not valid here.
No.
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh
look at
god.
that! Look at that! Look at He comes down for 4, and he +1s.
Yes.
Like burn decks. What are you gonna do if you're running a burn deck?
You better go wide
This
because
is
you're
a
not gonna.
blocker. Dude makes a blocker, and then you're
Yep.
just like, okay, so he has a 3/3 with hexproof. So there's like a huge chance that your creatures aren't big enough to go over that 3/3. And then you you try to burn it, and you're just like, well, but it has like 5 whole loyalty counters. I need at least 3 mana to be able to deal with this thing. 3 mana and 2 spells.
Yep.
Because 3 mana doesn't sound like a lot, but then you realize that it's 2 spells. That's 2 cards out of your freaking hand.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Looking forward to this. One of the new mechanics. It's Battle Siege. This one was spoiled 2 days ago by Press Start. Is Invasion of Zendikars, 3 and green, Battle Siege. As Siege enters the battlefield, choose an opponent to protect it. You and others can attack it. When it's defeated, exile it, then cast it transformed. But when it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped. And it has, for what it seems, 3 siege counters, I imagine. And then it turns to Awaken Skyclave. It's a creature elemental with Vigilance Haste. As long as Awaken Skyclave is on the battlefield, it's a land in addition to its other types. It adds mana of any color, and it's a 4/4. Now, my question is, have they explained if these are counters?
It's counters, and it's the same thing as loyalties. So you need to do 3 damage to it, and then it destroyed, and then it turns like you can cast the other side. But also note, you have to cast it. So if you have stuff that prevents you from casting, or if you have taxing in your
that prevents
casting,
you from casting to like without a what's her call? What's her name? Like Lavinia?
Yeah, something like that. Like
Lavinia. If you didn't pay mana to cast it, it gets countered.
Exactly. So you got to take that into consideration. It doesn't just come automatically. You need to cast it in from the other side. So think about that. But yeah, it's basically a loyal. It's planeswalker loyalty. You have to hit it for 3 damage, either by combat or non-combat damage, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea. Play.
Sure.
I feel like this battle is potentially
holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just read a card because I was just thinking about it since the start of the show.
Yeah.
So it enters the battlefield and it gets the counters, right? The
Sure.
three siege counters, right?
Sure.
Solemnity.
Oh, yeah, you can't put counters on it, so it's automatically destroyed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, unless some of the comment section already talked about that, but yeah, it's probably a synergy you can do. Definitely,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yep.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking about it. I was like,
that is
it
hilarious.
The battlefield, it gets the counters, but it can't get counters. So
let me just put all 36 siege cards, all 36 battle cards into a deck, and its whole thing. The other like cards in the deck are just tutors for Solemnity. Let's go.
Well, okay. Question: does Solemnity stop planeswalkers?
I don't think so.
Well, then it won't stop. Then it won't stop Invasion of Zendikar because
it says enchantments though.
Yeah, but these aren't enchantments.
These aren't enchantments. They're battles. It's another permanent type. Oh, then
let me see.
Oh, then
it's
okay. There you go.
Players can get counters. Counters can be put on artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or lands.
Okay.
That's funny. It doesn't mention like.
Well, it's not going to mention that because it's
at all. No, I know, but that's the thing. It's like there's no reason to errata Solemnity to include battles. So,
well, we'll see what they do. It depends on like if they want to like errata it to make sure that it accounts for all these other permanent types.
Because the thing is that
it's a little funny though because I think it'll work with Vorinclex actually if your opponent is playing a Vorinclex to be precise.
That's true. Yeah,
which I find kind of hilarious, but
yes.
So if I'm not mistaken, let me see if I can find one of those cards. I don't remember the name. Here we go. Oh no. Okay, so no. I thought that they had, but no, it's fine. I thought that the siege cards from Cons and Dragon. Well, I think it's Dragons. Had enchantment dash siege, but no, they only have siege on their name.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only siege on like the ability is called siege or whatever.
Exactly.
I think it is, no?
So apparently we're getting back to plane chase.
Yeah, that's old news. It's gonna be included in the commander decks.
I'm
So-
not gonna lie, I like plane chess. So
Yeah.
Are they gonna include like all of the cards in the commander decks, like all the plane chase cards? Like, how's
They're
that
gonna
gonna
give
work,
you
though?
10 of them, I believe. I think per commander deck, and it's gonna be not the same ones. They're gonna include, I think, a few new ones and a few of the reprints of like older ones.
yeah, I
But
imagine
that's
that
like
they're
old
not gonna
news, for
include the
sure.
expensive ones. They're
So
gonna
so
include
Probably.
every time you buy a commander, it's gonna be like a booster for plane chase.
No. It's a set. It's a set specific number. Like
Oh, okay.
it's already
Okay.
pre.
I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
you.
Yeah, it's not like a
you
booster.
buy the 4 commander decks and you essentially build your planar deck from there.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, that's okay.
It makes sense.
I'd
It makes sense.
actually, you know what? I think it's better because that way you don't have to make a whole ass other plane chase
Mhm.
like product. It feels it even if when you get down to the specifics, like it's just putting more cardboard so you buy product that's already
Yeah.
overpriced, right?
Definitely.
But it's kind of cool. Instead of making a whole like plane chase set that you have to like put like $40 more into,
Mhm.
you just go like, hey, was probably planning on getting all the commander decks anyways, and I guess as a little reward or bonus for doing that, I get to have a plane chase set.
A
So you know
plane
what?
chase
I'm not
set,
mad
yeah.
at it. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks fun. I like the fact that there's going to be new ones because these new
Mhm.
ones can be added. Whoever has the plane chase OG cards can just add the new ones in the
Exactly.
deck.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and talk about
We're just
these
not gonna talk
commanders.
about how broken those cards were. Let's go.
What you
Wanna
mean?
talk about
Yeah,
them?
let's go. Esper. Artifact
Esper.
spells cost one less.
Yeah.
Non-token creatures are enchantments in addition to their other types, and
Insane.
it has constellation as well. That whenever an enchantment
Disgusting.
enters the battlefield, you gain a
Gross.
life.
Gross.
My lord,
Disgusting.
Jesus. Panel picked on is when you planeswalk 2 pound, draw a card at the beginning of your draw step. Draw an additional card, especially with the card.
You
Yep.
draw
And if you get
cards. You draw
You
cards.
draw cards.
Everybody draws
Yep.
cards.
Drawing all the cards.
And
Yep.
then let's go ahead and John. Whenever a player, not you, or whenever a player it casts a creature spell that's black, red, or green, it gains Devour 5.
Mhm. Yep. Insane.
Look, I just want to play Tabarax and be like, okay, so Tabarax is going to devour all of these Shadowborn Apostles. He's just going to eat them, and I'm going to have a 25-25 Tabarax.
Gross.
I'm swinging
Bro,
for
but
lethal.
look at the chaos. The chaos gives you 2 freaking
2
goblins.
red goblin creature tokens. That way you can just eat them and get a
Jesus.
10-10. Oh!
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
These are stupid cards.
That's why I don't like plane chase. I don't like it.
I
hate
can't
it.
wait.
I love
Gross.
plane chase.
Gross.
Okay, the reason why I like plane chase is because there are moments that the card is on the game or on the board is screwing everybody over, and then you're like, oh yeah, I want to plane chase, and then the one that's under it is like, hey, how
The
about I
absolute
give you
god
double
cards.
mana and you
Yeah.
win this game?
No, straight up with like something like Esper on the battlefield. Like here, before we like move on to the next set of cards, the only problem I personally have with plane chase is that once you're playing like at a certain level of play, like a plane that pops up could literally just end the game right there and then,
Mm-hmm.
and not even in like a fun way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
for
good
example, something like Alara. Like if you just kind of, let's say you just start in Alara, like you just removed like one of the Esper is basically a combo piece in the planar deck
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
for stuff like Sensei's top with the Bola Citadel and so on. Like it's insane.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. This is and Nyx. If you're Goshen Tai commander, Nyx is you're gonna go off. Not you're gonna go off, but in the sense that
You're going to be
everything is
gaining
an
a crap ton of
enchantment,
life.
you're
Everything
gonna
is an
get a lot
enchantment.
of
You're going to
life.
be running enchantresses, so no matter
Mhm.
what you cast, you're just getting a bunch of cards.
Exactly. So it's stupid. Stupid. Okay.
He's the
So
best.
here are the 5 commanders. I have not seen them. I've been avoiding the spoilers just to enjoy them now in the show. I'm going to talk
Brimaz is the
about
best one.
which one?
Brimaz is the best
This
one.
one?
Yep.
I I want to check on the human knight. I
Go
like
go go
knights.
right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. So it's Sidar Jabari of Salfir is one white, blue, black. Legendary creature, human knight. It's a 4/3. Says it has eminence. Whenever you attack with one or more knights, if whatever Sidar is in the command zone or on the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. It has flying first strike. Whenever Sidar deals combat damage to a player, return target knight creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That card is so fucking
Yeah,
broken.
that thing is busted. I love it. I don't
Jesus.
know what prompted Wizards to bring Eminence back. I'm just
I
happy
know.
they did because I love Eminence. It's so bad for the game. It
I like
is
the fact that
so
each
bad for
plane.
the
Yeah, I
game.
was gonna say planeswalker, but each commander has different abilities. It's not all they're not all with eminence. Each one has like their own snitch.
Yeah.
So who you gonna read next, guys?
I'll read Kasla the Broken Halo. It's a Jeskai commander, so it's three colorless, blue, red, and white for a 5/4 angel ally. It has Convoke. It's a bunch of keywords, so it has flying, vigilance, and haste. And whenever you cast another spell that has Convoke, scry 2, then draw a card. So it's basically a Convoke batter stack. You have to just build around it with Convoke. And I guess it's just like it has the right colors to make it like a token, like a creature token based
Yeah.
deck.
Like a
With
Kai
the
card type of deal.
with like with the white and the red especially, and then just be convoking like crazy and just get a lot of value out of it. It's a fun build around. I like it. I would never play it, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like the fact that it does like there's nothing on it per se that like really helps with the convoke. It costs 6 mana. Like, I mean,
It
it
has
does have
convoke,
convoke.
so it's
Yeah,
gonna
I
come
guess I
down.
guess you can like
Yeah.
make some creature tokens, maybe get it down by like
Just
uh,
make it like a spirits
turn 4,
with
maybe
like
like turn
goblin
3. I
type
don't
of
know.
deck. I don't know. Like you can make like angels and spirits and
Exactly. I think
goblins
I think that
and
you can just
fish.
make it a tokens deck and you're fine.
Just
Yeah,
don't
just
don't run any like don't run any creature spells and just make everything like instants and sorceries that make tokens. Like I can see
Hmm.
it. Just
boom.
don't I don't love it potentially. I
Yeah.
did like that they did I think I saw that they printed like one or two convoke cards in the set.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
So on at least on that side, it makes me feel a little better that there is some support for the commanders they're printing.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, I feel like in past sets there has been moments in which sometimes like they'll print the commander and then you'll just be like, okay, but where's like the rest of the support for this? It's like nowhere to be found. So, at least there's like something going on there.
Okay. So
Um
go ahead, Chris.
Next we
Choose.
got the Foxy Boy, the Bright Palm, Soul Awakener. We got him coming down for Jetmir color. I mean for Naya colors. He's one colorless, one red, one green, and one white. He has backup one, which to me is new. I haven't seen backup. I don't know if this is like already been a
Yeah,
thing,
it
but
is a
It's a
new
new mechanic.
mechanic.
awesome. So backup one. When this creature enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. If that's another creature, it gains the following ability until the end of turn. Whenever this creature attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on target creature. That creature can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less this turn. Um, your creatures can't be chump blocked. That is insane.
Yeah.
The cool thing here though is that hold on. So it gains the ability until the end of the turn. So you're kind of looking for lots of hasty things or things that are going to attack on
You
that
want
turn.
Mhm.
red,
You're
so you're gonna be
using
able to
white
find
to
it.
most likely try to blink your bright palm a
Yeah.
lot.
Yep.
Yep.
Probably like some flicker wisp, essence, because you don't need it to do the thing on its end steps. Even
Mhm.
actually, yeah, no, flicker wisp is fine because at least you're putting 1/1 counters on your opponent's turns.
Yeah.
That's actually really fun. This is potentially like at least in more like casual tables because obviously this isn't a CEDH deck, right? But
Mhm.
like in more casual tables, this will definitely like do a number on the table. Like it can
Yeah.
get out of hand for no reason. And
Yeah.
I like that what I'm seeing in most of these commanders is that they don't inherently get out of hand. They just definitely can get out of hand real quick.
Yep.
Hmm. Next commander is Gimbal, Gremlin Prodigy.
Second
Is
favorite.
2 green, blue, red, legendary creature, Gremlin Artificer. artifact creatures you control have trample. At the beginning of your end step, create a 0/0 red gremlin artifact creature token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of differently named artifact tokens you control.
Yep.
It's a 4/4.
It's artifact tokens deck
Mhm.
matters. So and
Yep.
that's not even like creature. It can be like treasures, incubator tokens, clues, what have you.
Wow.
And it's teamer, which is interesting colors for
Academy
artifact
Rector.
deck. Yeah,
Academy Manufacturer, the Squirrel
Yeah.
Dude.
The
Oh wait,
Squirrel
the
Dude.
Squirrel Dude has black. He can't go
Oh,
in
he has
there.
black.
Never
But
mind.
the fact that it has green,
It's still
it's
a lot of
interesting.
really good stuff
Yeah.
that can go in there, and it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's teamer. It makes it much more interesting as a potential artifact commander. So I like
Correct.
it. I wouldn't make it, but I like it.
I would definitely try because man, gremlins are such cool little creatures. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys already knew, but in the plane of Kaladesh, what gremlins do is that they're essentially a plague. Like they go like to the inventors fairs and to the different like places where they're hoarding like ether and like machines that make ether, and they eat them.
So they're
Like,
Jawas.
Exactly.
they're essentially Jawas, yeah. They're like a combination in between like a Jawa and some kind of weird rat. Like they're the plague of the freaking city, and they eat ether. It's so cool.
Beautiful.
So cool.
Okay, who's gonna read the last commander?
Hey, that's my favorite. That's
Go
the
nuts.
kitty cat. That's
Go ahead.
Brimaz, Blight of Oreskos. Legendary creature Phyrexian cat. He comes down for 2 colorless mana, 1 white and 1 black. Whenever you cast a Phyrexian creature or artifact creature spell, incubate X, where X is that spell's mana value. Then it goes into the reminder text for incubator, which is create an incubator token with X +1/+1 counters on it, and it gets an ability, which is you pay 2 colorless mana to transform this artifact into a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact creature. So potentially you cast like a what's his name, like Foundry Inspector, because you want the rest of your artifact creatures to cost less.
Mhm.
You get like it's gonna have a Phyrexian with plus like 3 +1/+1 counters on it when you flip it.
Yep.
At the beginning of each end step, not your end step, each end step, very important. If a Phyrexian died under your control this turn, proliferate. The amount of aristocrat BS and the amount of support for Phyrexians, which I would honestly expect from the set, but the amount of support for the Phyrexian creature type in the set is looking really good for this deck specifically. Like I don't know what it is with Wizards of the Coast and the colors white black, but recently, like with the commander deck for D&D and with this one, like they are pushing some pretty good stuff out. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to get my hands on this cat, dude. Anyone who plays Aristocrats like just knows this is gonna be a hell of a lot of fun.
Well, since they're talking about the incubator and the incubate mechanic. What do you guys think about the incubate mechanic? Do you think it's something that people are going to actually do or not?
I think that it's actually a pretty decent mechanic if you have more ways. I think there was also, well, we're gonna see him above the creature I'm referring to, but being able to consistently crank out a bunch of these blockers in decks that don't necessarily want to attack is amazing for them. And it gives you like that late game, like, oh, I have a bunch of mana on my board. I have like controlled the living crap out of my opponent this game. They barely have cards in hand. They're running out of resources. Instead of like holding up a billion mana, let me just hold up enough for a counter spell and then just tap the rest of my mana to make the creatures to start closing out the game.
Yep. Okay.
It's potentially a really good mechanic for
control decks.
decks in the case of like standard and all these other formats, and a really good mechanic, especially with Brimaz in this case for commander and like aristocrat decks. I'm enjoying it. I like what I'm seeing.
We
Even
have
if
to
it
see.
isn't that OP, like there's 2 of these cards that I think are excellent in this regard. And
I think yeah, if they introduce more cards, like we're gonna see one of them now. It's if it's like a removal spell that just gives you upside with giving you more of these incubator tokens, then you can be like, well, I removed that. You have nothing on board. Wait, I'm just gonna pay 2. I'm gonna make a big beater here. I'm just gonna swing you for game because now I have attackers that can't be destroyed by board wipes, which is something that control decks would have. So then when you have merciless repurposing, you can be like, well, I'll exile your shit. Of course, it's like a very expensive removal spell, but I'm just saying there might be like cheaper versions of this idea in the set. So you can be like, well, I'll remove something and then I'll have a little incubator, like a little 2/2. And then when the game's running long, you just tap for 2. I have an actual beater and I can start beating you, or an actual blocker at instant speed.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right about that. I think they have potential in specific control decks.
Hey, but aren't they like go down like a little bit, John? So I can see the bottom of the incubator token.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
No, we gotta go a little. There you go, incubator token.
Yeah,
It just
I
says
just wanted to see
transform.
if So wow, it's just a token artifact. It's
Yeah, it's
not
just a little
even
token.
a creature.
Yeah.
So I just want to see the blue ones because if there's good ones, I can just put them in Urza and they can just be like Moxen, and then when I need a beater,
you're gonna see the one that you want. You're gonna see the one that you
oh,
want.
okay. I haven't seen all of them, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm hyped.
So-
man,
So Forbes not only
I don't even
spoiled
want to. I
cards.
don't even want to say anything because I feel like I'll spoil it too hard. Like,
So
Yeah.
Forbes spoiled even the promo cards that are going
That's
to
great.
be available
Let's go.
on for your booster packs if you guys play on your
Mm.
local game store. As well, before we continue, Mecha Geek said hello, everyone. Hello, Mecha
hey,
Geek.
Mecha
Yo,
Geek, how
what's
you
up?
doing, my dude? Thank you for joining us one more time.
So,
Mhm.
so here's a couple of the cards. Which do you guys have any of these cards that are interested in talking about?
I already checked a few of them. We can highlight perhaps Norn's Inquisitor and Kami of the Whisper's Hope. So Norn's Inquisitor, it's a colorless and a white. It's a 1/1 Phyrexian Knight. When Norn's Inquisitor enters the battlefield, incubate 2. So it gives you a little body. And then whenever a permanent you control transform into a Phyrexian, put a 1/1 counter on it. So then for 2 mana, you get 4 in attack and defense. Like it's pretty strong for 2 mana. Of course, you have to pay 2 extra mana to flip the card. So it's essentially you pay 4 mana for 4 potential damage on the battlefield. But if you have multiples of these, then you're gonna have your value very quickly stacked.
Correct.
So
Oh my
it's pretty
god, I
good for
see
a
it.
winning.
I
Yeah,
see it. Mono white weenies.
yeah. Mono
Oh,
white winnies with
God.
that. It
Well,
could be a
green
possibility.
white weenies really like green white
Yes,
weenies always
because then
sounds
when
like
you
a great combo.
when you mix it with Kami of the Whisper's Hope, it's 2
Kami.
colors and a green for a 1/1. If 1 or more 1+1/+1 counters will be put into a permanent you control, put that many +1/+1/+1 counters on that permanent instead, and then tap for X mana of any color, where X is Kami Whisper's Hope power. So
And
you
it's
can
an
put
uncommon.
yes. Yeah, it's pretty like I feel like there's gonna be like a little thing there with the Celestia token strategy going on with the incubator
Oh
tokens.
shit.
Yeah. So those are the 2 that I would highlight for sure.
Actually, Kami of Whispered Hopes plus the Norn's Inquisitor, like just
that's what I'm saying.
synergize
That's it. That's a
ridiculously.
synergy
never
right
mind,
there.
my bad.
Yeah, it's a synergy
Yeah,
right there.
like I'm just saying, like great support for the commander deck too. Like that's
Agree.
it's great.
Yeah.
Also,
So-
Halo Forager,
Yes.
hella relevant, I would say.
Go ahead.
It's just for 3 additional mana, you get to cast like an insane spell from your graveyard and
Yep.
exile it. It's a worse like really big quotation marks. Like it's a worse Snapcaster Mage because you don't get the flash element, so you can't like counter spells with it.
Yeah.
But still, the potential of like the potential value that Halo Forager brings to your commander deck is insane.
It'll be used in standard. This thing's gonna be used in standard no matter what.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. People are gonna use it in standard, I think.
Yeah, never mind. No, now that I think about it, I can definitely see it. It's like for late game, you just have a 3/1 to be able to smack face with, and then on top of that,
Yeah.
you're able to like get removal from your graveyard. Yeah, no,
Yep.
this is pretty
It's
good.
really good. For an uncommon, like in draft unlimited, it's gonna be insane. And I think it will be good in like Demir strategies that care about like really big spells or like
Yeah.
nice
exactly.
removal spells. Yeah. Definitely. It's very
Then
good.
we have these 2 that have the backup 1 mechanic as well. This is the noticeable cycle of cards that Wizard of the Coast always adds in sets that are monocolored, and they have the same mana value, and then they have their own abilities to like add for the mechanic. So it's really nice to see a cycle, another cycle of cards that probably might not be used in standard.
This is potentially really cool though. I don't know if like I don't want to skip over them just yet, because especially like the Arc Priest, when it comes into the battlefield, like even if when you read it vanilla, it's a 4/4 death touch that every time it smacks face, it's gonna bring back a permanent. However, in the turn in which it comes in, it also gives the same ability to another creature. Like I like the whole thing with the backup thing is like
Yeah, but it all
gains the
depends if you
following
have the
abilities
second
until the end of the
creature.
turn. Like that's well, yeah, John. But like, if you're paying 5 mana for a creature, you think you're not gonna have your like second creature on the battlefield
We're
unless you
talking
just
about
got board wipe?
standard.
That's exactly my point. We're talking about
Ooh.
standard, John. If you
Yeah, yeah.
don't
Yeah,
have creatures on the battlefield by
Mhm.
then, you're dead
Mm.
already. Because if by turn
Mm.
4 you're not already like you haven't affected your opponent's board or don't have a massive board,
but it
you're
all
dead
depends.
by
It,
turn
it, it
4.
all depends on the meta game because there's other
That's
5 drops that you
exactly what
might use for
that's
that
exactly what
slot.
I'm referring to, my guy. You have to have the other creatures because if not, you're dead by then. That's exactly my point.
You mean like you mean for the backup mechanic? If you have the extra creature, you can get more value out of it, or
Yeah, like you
yeah.
need like if you're gonna be playing this in your deck, you're gonna be playing a deck that has to have creatures on the battlefield by then because if
Oh
not,
yeah, of course.
again,
No,
you're
because you're
going
not
to
gonna
be
get
dead
the
otherwise.
value of the backup. It's just gonna be a +1/+1 on a creature, and you're already dead because it has this keyword. So ideally, what you want to have, it's either a lot of backup creatures, so they can stack on one on top of the other, or like a simple token strategy or something, so you can have like already
Hmm.
creatures, somewhere like small creatures, and then back up with a pretty powerful effect on like a 2/2,
Yeah.
and they just swing with that 2/2. I don't know if that's viable because if you're having big late game creatures on a white weenie or like a weenie
Mhm.
deck. I don't know if that is gonna make much sense, but maybe like in a mid range deck,
The thing is,
Exactly.
potentially could work. I don't know.
midnight, like the Innistrad side doesn't rotate out when this comes out, right? Like it's there's still like plenty of time.
Yeah, there's no because it would rotate after the aftermath. I think that's when stuff
So
rotates out. So we
so
still have it.
hear me out. There's a lot
Go
of
ahead.
people that are already playing like the little guy that's like the double striker with toxic one, and then you just equip a bunch of stuff on it. That's like a lot of what the metagame is seeing now.
Yeah.
Boombringer Valkyrie is essentially what can either close out your game by just simply giving this thing flying, putting it up in the air, and then just making it so that burn decks and other stuff can't reach you.
Mhm.
Like you just start out gaining like life. Um, that's specifically why the Boombringer Valkyrie was the one that stood out to me. The Arc Priest of Shadows is cool. Don't get me wrong; it's a really powerful effect. But the Boombringer is giving it evasion, first strike, and lifelink.
Yeah,
That
keywords.
that thing that
Keywords
thing is
soup.
insane.
Yeah,
That's
the
3 keywords.
it's really good. Keyword soup. Yeah, yeah.
Even if
It's
it's
pretty.
still until the end of the turn, you're still giving it a +1/+1 counter, which in standard, as things are, still really, really matters.
Yeah.
Are there more powerful 5 drops? Probably. But at least specifically in white, it's a potential game closer. It really is.
Mhm.
Especially because there's also a lot of like infect strategies running in white too. So you got like the mono white toxic weenies deck. Toxic
Yeah.
weenies. That sounds funny as hell. You got a bunch of little toxic weenies, which are gonna be smacking face. And usually, like the only issues I've had playing Toxic Weenies is specifically, dealing with, oh man, I don't have flying or I don't have a lot of evasion because my strategy is mostly focused on going as wide as possible. So taking out like a bigger costed card to substitute in for like maybe 1, 2 copies of Boombringer Valkyrie, which will be enough to keep me in the game because dealing with a flying first strike lifelink is hard enough as it is.
I
I
think
think
in
I think
limited,
people just give it the edge.
limited and draft.
In
That's a
limited
bomb,
draft,
dude.
that's
That's
a
a
Broken.
bomb.
bomb. That's a
Yeah,
bomb. You
just
have that. You have a few creatures.
you just
You're
win.
like dying and be like, oh, I smack you, I heal myself, and then I have a blocker 4/4 for you.
A
Because the thing is,
flying for a blocker. Like I don't think I can stress the flying enough because
Yeah, it's pretty good.
flying is insane and limited. It's insane
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah,
because when White Weenies was popular, the bomb was the elephant that had convoke. It gave them
yes.
counters.
Yep.
So this card is the Boombringer is it's fine. You'll cast it. You can give another creature like the flying first strike, lifelink. But I say that depending on how the set brings, if there are like more convoke cards that do better things, for at least for that for a white weenies deck, I think that there's better cards out there for this. But Boombringer for limited, if you get to at least have a playset or at least 3 cards in your limited deck,
Mhm.
you're golden.
Yeah.
Imagine having like 2 on the game and then you play the third one.
Gross. Gross. Gross.
That would just be like so
Horrifying.
much overkill because at that point, once you put down the third one, the one in the middle
Yep.
is just gonna be like a what, like a 6/6 flying first strike, and then you have the other like no, it's not
No,
even
Yep.
it's not even a
so
match worth
horrifying.
playing at that
Yeah,
point.
it's horrifying.
So here we got the couple of siege cards.
Oh man, we don't have the backside. Oh, you have to click on them, right, for the backside.
No, I
Yeah.
think the backsides are on the top. Here you go.
Oh yeah, there they are.
Oh,
Okay.
that's so
I
weird.
think-
I don't like
yeah,
it.
That's
but-
yeah, there they
Are
are.
they all there?
Yeah, they are
Yeah.
sort of there. There we are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they are next to them. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So,
I
what
guess
do
you
you
should
think?
stay over there. No, stay
Yeah,
over there so we can talk about the
yeah.
backside, because the backside is
Okay.
quickly talking about the invasion of Euphorexia too. You can start with that one if you like.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Mirrodin event. I'm gonna. This is just art wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Art wise, I love Traumatic Revelation.
Yeah.
This, for me, I haven't read the story. I know that on the chat, a lot of people are reading the story up, and I haven't read the story, but I think that
I
this
can sit
revelation
down and
has
give
to
everybody
be.
the rundown. I mean, shit.
Go ahead. What's the rundown? What's happening?
I'd rather do it after the spoilers, maybe. Just
Oh,
that
okay.
way. That way
Okay.
we can just keep this as coherent as possible.
Okay,
So-
go ahead.
So let's go ahead. Mirrodin Avenge is, I think, is really good card. It's not amazing, but destroy target creature that was dealt damage this turn. If you're playing Rakdos burn,
The thing
that
that
I
it
think-
replaces itself, it's kind of pretty strong, I think.
Yeah.
If
It's
there's a way to like sparse damage to amongst
Mhm.
a lot of creatures, you can be like, well, I do like this 1 mana, hit everyone for 1, and then I can just ping one other creature, and
Wait,
like
there
again
is
like
one.
a Rakdos. There's already one. Well, there you go.
yeah,
That's it.
the one that is, I think it costs 1 mana and it's
Oh,
in
the red one. Yeah, the
red
red
one.
enchantment, the red saga.
There you go. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Ooh.
true.
But isn't there one that is
Ooh.
red that it's I think it's a sorcerer instant that hits 1 damage to all creatures?
If there's one already,
In
that's all you
standard,
need.
not that I'm aware of, because
In
even
Innistrad.
if there were one that was just for 1 mana like that, everyone just prefers using the saga because you get more value out of it.
That's
Oh,
true.
You
yeah,
get
that's true.
the initial pinging effect. So this is insane because instead of, you can probably hold up your saga for turn 2, or usually what the deck is looking to do a lot of times, starting with 2 copies of that saga, just chef's kiss, because you're getting rid of any 1-drops that they might drop in turn 2, because I've held up 1-drops just because I know that it's coming.
Yeah.
You know? And then they'll just like wipe my board by casting a second one, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just scoop, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so turn 1 you get like your general thing. Your opponent is taking a damage, so that's already like a downside on them. Turn 2, you can say either, usually what you're looking to do in turn 2, if you don't have like, unless you have like other options, I guess, is to cast, if you're playing mono red, you cast your saga again, and then you cast a Monastery Swift Spear because you have it with the +1/+1 of the first saga plus the damage, and then you get to do the thing all over again, basically, to put a 1/1 counter on something. Great stuff. But in Rakdos, this is where it like becomes super fun, because you can even, if you know that your opponent isn't playing a strategy in which the saga's initial effect will have much of effect on the board, you can just hold it up and then just save it as like a 2-card combo for against, like, let's say you got a Shield Dread deck that you're playing against, put down the saga, Mirrodin Avenge, you're drawing a card off of it. I don't know, pretty good stuff.
So the card is called End the Festivities, is a 1 red sorcery, and it
Ooh.
deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature and planeswalker they control.
Ah, I see. Okay,
Nice.
It's a
there you go.
sorcery. So
Well, that's all you need.
mhm.
Honestly. Yeah, I feel like that Mirrodin Avenge. I mean, at worst, I want that playmat. At worst, I want the playmat
Yeah.
of that, because that
Yeah, it
artwork
looks
is
insane.
cool. It's so cool.
Karn
Yeah.
holding up Elishnorn's
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, it's really badass. So yeah, at worst, I want to get that. At best, it's
Yeah.
a pretty good card, because it replaces itself, so it's pretty solid.
On another note, I do want to just briefly mention that Seal from Existence.
Yes, good removal.
Insane for what it is, because we're already used to seeing this type of removal. It's basically become a staple in like all of the recent standard sets.
Yep.
3 mana, usually white mana for an enchantment, comes down, removes something until the enchantment leaves the battlefield. This thing has Ward 3.
That's annoying. That's
That
so annoying.
is annoying, dude. What, like, I've come to the consensus that once your ward is past 2,
Yep.
it's basically hexproof for all
Yeah.
intents and
Mhm.
purposes,
Mhm.
because paying 3 additional mana to get rid of something like that is just, it's too
Almost
freaking
never worth it. Yep. Yep. It's
yeah.
true. Very
So
solid.
let's go ahead and talk about these siege cards and these cards
Sure.
that transform, right?
I can
So the
talk about
first,
the invasion.
which one?
The invasion of Phyrexia.
Vision for new
And the new
Phyrexia.
Phyrexia.
This one.
Yeah. So it's an X in Azorius color, so it's a white and a blue. It's a battle siege, so we already know what it does. It has 6 defense points. When it enters the battlefield, create X 2/2 white and blue knight creature tokens with vigilance, and then you give it to your opponent. If you somehow defeat the invasion of Phyrexia, you get rewarded with Teferi, Akosa of Salfir. Legendary Planeswalker. He has 4 loyalty. The +1 is draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. The -2, you get an emblem that reads, knights you control get +1/+0 and have ward 1. And then you can -3, tap X creatures you control. When you do, shuffle target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value X or less into the owner's library. So basically, you make a bunch of creature tokens. Then when you defeat it with the same creature tokens you just made, you get to fairy, and you start getting emblems for your creature tokens, or you can tap all your creature tokens so you can bounce something that's really problematic from the opponent's board. I never thought I'd see the day having Teferi have abilities that deal with creatures, but I guess since we're talking about Magic the Gathering endgame, you're mixing and mashing exactly different like things and concepts. So I can understand why he's like helping knights to like win the battle.
To be fair, it's because there's like the story context of it. That's
Yeah.
the reason why he's like. What I personally don't like about this card, though, is
Nope.
that we're dealing with knights instead of soldiers. You gave me support for soldiers in like the last 2 sets, and then you switched it up for knights
Mhm.
in a set that thus far has no support for
Yeah.
knights.
I
Yeah.
think the
This
idea is because it's
maybe when Eldraine comes out, it'll like have like something
true.
like support for the future set. I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Like it's in the same color as all of the soldier cards that have been coming out of the new soldier lord. Like, other
I
than
get you.
that, it's
It
pretty cool.
happens, man.
I get
It
you.
happens.
It's
We,
that's a fair assessment. I think it
yeah.
might be because they're thinking in the future in terms of like Throne of Eldraine.
Mhm.
And I think the other reason is because it's this is like a hodgepodge of all the other sets that have been previously released. And I know it's not like Eldraine, it says new Phyrexia, but still like there's obviously knights in Throne of Eldraine, and they are Eldraine stuff here involved in this set too. I think
Exactly.
that's probably why too. But as it stands, it's a pretty solid card, even if it didn't have a Teferi in the back, because an X spell, like a 2 NX for basically doing a bunch of creature tokens, that's
That's
already like
insane. That's
that's a
really
norm.
good.
That's already on a baseline
Mhm.
level. It's already like a pretty good card that people would see in standard. Now
Yeah.
add to it, it's a permanent, so that you can have other properties with it. And then if you actually destroy it, get to fairy, which is one of the few battle siege cards you can actually destroy the battle card pretty quickly because it's the one that makes creatures from the get-go, so you can have like the things that you need to destroy that very quickly. You
Mhm.
got rewarded with a pretty good Teferi for that. It's like a trash Teferi in like if in comparison to the other Teferis ever been released, but it's pretty good for that purpose. So
Yeah.
it could see some standard play
It's
maybe.
theoretically a free to fairy.
It's yes, very
Yeah.
theoretical. Yes.
It is.
Very theoretically, because you're not spending mana on it, but you're spending a whole like
Yeah.
at a minimum of 3 soldiers to be able to
And
smell
six
knights. I'm sorry, is it
six
knights or still
damage.
knights?
Yeah, 6 damage. You could have killed your opponent with this, and instead
Yeah.
you're gonna try to get a Teferi instead. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
So
true.
I really like as an X spell, this is just really good, because usually we're used to seeing, for example, with the removal with the board wipe, it's 2 white and X, and the tokens you make with the X are 1/1s. These are 2
yes,
2s.
yep.
That's like super relevant.
So the next card that it's very interesting is Itali Primal Conqueror is 5 and 2 red legendary elder dinosaur. We have seen Itali before back in was it Ixalan? Yeah, Ixalan.
Yeah.
So it's trample when Itali Primal Conqueror enters the battlefield. Each player exiles the cards from top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among them from the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. and then it has an additional cost to transform it, that you pay Phyrexian or green mana, and 9 to transform Etali to Etali Primal Sickness. Legendary creature Phyrexian Elder Dinosaur, trample indestructible. This is the interesting part. Whenever Etali Primal Sickness deals combat damage to a player, that player gets that many poison counters, and it's an 11/11 card.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Jesus.
hear me out. Hear me out. Italia is the commander, so it's a Gruul deck, and you put all 10 swords in that deck. And then when it enters the battlefield, start getting swords out of your deck, start giving them to Tali, and you just have a dinosaur with a bunch of swords in its little hands, just killing everybody.
To be fair, those hands ain't tiny.
No, they're not.
This dude actually has like some proportionate ass hands. That is the scariest dinosaur you ever seen, bro. Like usually you'll see a T-Rex and you'll be like, okay, if I just get like right under his maw, maybe like he'll like it's fine. He can't reach me. But this guy can just grab you out the floor. Like there's no escaping this thing.
No, it's crazy. Yeah,
I like it.
I gotta say.
Gotta be honest. It looks like a fun.
It's a very
build.
fun commander. Like this one's really fun to build around.
This is definitely like one of those kill you out of freaking nowhere kind of decks. Like it's like, oh yeah, it's fine. Nobody look at him. He's the aggro deck. He's like doing nothing here. His commander costs like 7, and then suddenly, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and like haste my commander since I have so much mana left over. Let me just like transform him. And now that he has haste, I'm gonna kill you. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, exactly. Literally, yeah.
No. But how about this? Well, I have a lot of dorks.
His backside is indestructible.
Yes.
It's so annoying.
Put a Helm of the Host and start making copies of it. Start killing everyone.
No. Isn't there a wait? There's an equipment that gives it Myriad.
Yeah, you can have Myriad with the non-legendary copy,
Well,
of course.
Yeah, you would have
start
to
swinging.
Yeah, that's
I'm
like
telling
so
you,
many loops.
this is fun.
That's so many loops. Like you would have to just spend like the first 5 turns of the game ramping up to like a
in
billion
Gruul?
mana.
Oh, it's so difficult to ramp in Gruul.
Exactly.
You just like ramp to like a billion mana, and then you're like, okay, everyone's just looking at you like, okay, so you're just gonna like win now, right? Because like nobody can stop you from just like ramping to a billion now.
Oh my god, it's so
fun.
crazy.
It's
Like
fun.
the whole deck is just ramping up to your commander.
Yep.
Is there anything interesting that you guys want to talk?
I'm liking
shock.
that negate. Negate is again in the set.
That's beautiful.
The smite is cool.
I hate the story moment, but
the smite is
story
cool.
moment. Yeah, the smite is cool. The Quintorius Lore Master. He's an interesting Boros spell slingy type of commander. I dig him.
He wants to be a Boros spell slinger, but I can't think of like what big payoff Boros spell I would play in him though.
That is fair.
Wish I had JP here to just kind of like scream at me and be like, no,
because you can just do this with this obscure card. JP's pretty good at that. That's true.
Yeah.
I know there's probably potential for that. I just wouldn't be able to tell you what spells, maybe like a burn spell or something.
We'll ask JP next week.
Yeah, for sure. We'll put a pin on that one. But he seems interesting enough.
So Stoke the Flames was before a rare. Now it's uncommon.
Yep.
Thank
I guess it's
God.
for like the limited purposes.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Thank God it's an uncommon.
That's true.
Yeah, but the good thing is-
Can you imagine like Wizards being because of a limited environment we had to print this as a rare? Like,
yeah.
No,
That's true.
No, Wizards never did it.
So we have these cards. I like these legendary creatures because you're combining like 2 creatures and making them one card, and some of them have like flavorful effects that you're like, this could be a good decent commander.
I like that commander because now he has 2 eyes. You know what I mean? Like one can look at the left, one can look at the right. It's pretty dope. I appreciate that Wizards had the foresight to keep these 2 like a pair of eyes instead of 1 each. You know, it's pretty cool.
Hey, 2 eyes are better than 1. Am I right?
That's true. That should have been the flavor. Oh
the
my
flavor
god!
text.
That's the flavor. Oh man, that would be great. Maybe the alternate extended whatever, or the special one. Yeah, might have it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Are there any cards that you guys want to talk about besides? I know
yes.
like
Those
this
2 for
one?
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
These 2.
Those 3, basically all of those.
Real quick, I
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
enjoy that Borborygmos has a way to protect himself.
Yes.
it does put it third from the top, but
It's
you're
something.
playing blue.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly, you're playing
what
blue.
what
Yeah.
what are two cards to a blue player? You know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I would say that I'm a little disappointed with the card, even though everything else is phenomenal. It only hits creatures, and I feel like that's a detriment. They should have just pushed it to be damaged to face. It's fine. Like it's not. Come on, it's gonna be kind of hard to pull it off. I think it's a 5 mana. It doesn't have trample. Like it's already kind of difficult to get around that, and you have to really build around it to be able to like one shot the opponent with lands. But in Commander, it would have been kind of nice to just be able to be like, well, I'm gonna play this fun little creature. I'm gonna attack you. I'm gonna like blow up 7
Yeah.
lands. I'm gonna hit you for 14 or something. That would have been fun. But I don't know. I
I
feel
think it
like
would have
got
made it
scared.
much more viable in the
Yes,
Commander
but
guide.
I feel like
Like
got
right now,
scared.
it's just funny. Like it's fun
just
to play. It gives you some value because you get to draw cards, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
It's cute. It's a feels bad mythic though, because that's a mythic.
Mhm.
So it's a feels bad mythic. Realmbreaker Invasion Tree is insane.
That makes me want to build
Insane.
5-color Joda and like actually put money into it because being able to just simply, hey, I'm just gonna search for an artifact. Cool, everyone's okay with it. Cool.
Yep.
With all this bunch of mana that I have for like no reason, right? I'm just gonna sacrifice my Realmbreaker tree.
Let's get
Lock
some
everybody
Praetors.
out of the game.
Yep. We're just
Let
gonna
me
get all
just
the Praetors.
lock everybody out of the game.
Yeah. Just get all the
Yeah.
Praetors. Yeah, it's insane. It's crazy. I love it. Just get the World Tree, get the Realmbreaker, and then just be like, I'm gonna get all the gods, I'm gonna get all the Praetors, and you're gonna lose. You're just gonna lose.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty strong.
And then we got Pulachronos.
Pulachronos is insane. It's 3 mana for a
3
4/5.
mana.
You say?
It's for a 4/5 reach,
For-
3 mana.
Damn.
That's
This
so
is
ridiculous.
definitely what you would like to compete against, like your Shieldred, like in
Yeah,
Mono
yeah.
Black.
No,
This
it's true.
is
That's for sure.
Yeah,
this for standard is going to be interesting.
it's very pushed. Like they
Let
keep
me-
just
Let
pushing.
me see the backside of this dude, though.
So exactly. So the front side is just a reach, it's a 4/5, and then for 6 and a Phyrexian white, you get to
So for
thank
6
God.
mana.
So it's basically 7 or 6 exactly. You get to flip him, and for Pulachronos, Engine of Ruin, which already kind of spoils you what this card is. It's a reach and a lifelink for a 6/6, and then when Pulachronos Engine of Ruin or another non-token Hydra you control dies, create a 3/3 green and white Phyrexian Hydra creature token with reach, and a 3/3 green and white Phyrexian Hydra creature token with lifelink. So it basically is Wormcoil Engine on a
Mhm.
stick.
This is potentially a really annoying commander.
Yes.
Yep.
Just make a Hydra Matters deck. Yeah.
Not
That's
just
true.
that. It's like like Hydras in like green white. It's just a little insane because it just starts going really wide out of nowhere. You got a lot of Hydras that when they die or like when they do like the monstrosity thing, they get a bunch of Hydras. You got the Hydra that prevents damage and then just like does like puts the damage on top of it. Like it's potentially a really stompy, really fun deck to play, and then like Pulachronos' ability just makes it resilient as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like for each token of yours that dies, you're getting like for each creature of yours that dies, you're getting 2 tokens. That's even like a potentially like a cool outlet for, let's say, like, oh, I'm gonna have like my Phyrexian altar on my board, and somebody's end step just sacrifice all of my Hydras, get a bunch of Hydras on board, then just overrun somebody with a bunch of like token Hydras, and then just use one of those white spells to bring everything back.
Yep.
Potentially fun stuff.
Yep.
Definitely.
Next card is Glissa, Herald of Predation.
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 It's 3 colorless, black green legendary creature Phyrexian zombie elf 3/5. It says the following: at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1, incubate 2 twice, transform all your incubator tokens you control. And the last one, Phyrexians you control gain first strike and death touch until end of turn.
Mm-hmm.
This seems fun.
Yeah, it's an engine on itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Just start incubating, start transforming them when you have a bunch of them, and just swing.
And just swing, yeah.
I like that it also does the like it's a choose at the beginning of combat trigger, so you can just you don't have to worry as much about like, oh, I have to get the damage in, like you have to do with the other Glissa or anything. So real fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Elish Norn, because we're getting on the pre-orders once again, but They are creatures and they can transform to sagas.
Mhm.
So Elish Norn, its mana cost is 2 and 2 white. Legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor, Vigilance. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a permanent you control, that source controller loses 2 life unless they pay 1. Then you can pay 2 and white, sacrifice 3 other creatures, exile Alice Norn, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its controller as an under its control. Activate only as a sorcery. It becomes a saga with 3 chapters. Chapter 1, incubate 2 5 times, then transform all incubate tokens you control.
Mhm.
Number chapter 2, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain double strike until end of turn. Incubate 3. I'm not incubate 3, chapter 3, my bad. Destroy all other permanents except for artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians. Exile the agent etching, then return it to the battlefield. Face up.
Yep.
As Elish Norn.
Elishnor, like the front side is very lackluster. Like it's fun if you're up against like an aggro deck that has a bunch of it's a go white strategy because they're gonna be burning themselves out as they attack you. But the backside, if you start pulling that off, you can just win in a standard game very quickly.
Oh yes.
Very
Yeah.
quickly.
No, even that front side in standard, I think is pretty relevant because especially in the first turns of the game, like most burn decks, like for example, mono red is just dealing 1 or 2 damage,
Yeah.
just consistently, but it's still just dealing 1 or 2 damage.
I
I
have
think I
here.
might make Ellis replacing Preston from our buddy Japes, which isn't here to like tell us all the super obscure jank secrets.
Yep, true.
Okay,
The
so
sword.
we
Gotta
have
talk about
the
the sword.
sword.
Yeah.
They Wizard of the Coast said that this was going to be the last sword, right?
Yeah, because now we have the cycle. This is
We
the
have the
last sword.
cycle.
We finally
So
took 20 years in the making. Yeah.
yeah. So Sword of Ones and Future is 3 colorless artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from blue and from black. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, surveil 2. Then you may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead and has equipped 2.
Yep. It's on the top echelon of swords by a
Mhm.
lot. It's
I don't
really
mind
strong.
it.
Really?
I
That's
don't mind it.
super. That's strong. That's really strong. That's on the top tier. That like top 5 swords, easy. Easy. I think you don't remember the other swords that do nothing most of the time.
Yeah,
You're
no, well, don't get me wrong. It's better than the do nothing swords, but I don't know.
I mean,
The
it's surveils.
surveil 2 is like the strong part. I feel like the second part is like fine. I also feel like if the second part, if that number wasn't 2 and it was any other number, there's just kind of no in between. Either it would absolutely suck or it'd be the most amazing thing
But
ever.
it's a 2 or less. You can get like a fatal push. You can get like a shock.
Mhm.
You can like a lightning bolt. You can get like a removal spell, like a draw spell, and keep
I, gue-
moving
I
up
guess
your game.
I guess I would really feel like better if I got like a tutor out of it. Like
Okay.
for the most part, like that's what I would feel better about. Like
Mm.
honestly,
But you
maybe if I
can
had like
because
a
tutors cost 1 mana or 2.
Yeah, for EDH
yeah,
purposes.
no, yeah,
You get the value out
yes,
of it.
all of this is understandable, but I don't know.
Okay,
I
fair.
don't know. There's
Fair.
just something about it that swords in general to me like just hit a little weird unless they're like on a really good commander, I guess. Like if your
Okay.
face commander is like really good and has like what's it called? Like it has like any kind of synergy or interaction with the swords. Yes. Otherwise, I don't think this is a sword I would just stick in a deck. You know what I mean?
Fair. It'll be
That's
the
fair.
cheapest one you can get a hold on, though,
Yeah.
because right now all the other swords
For
are a little more
now,
expensive.
like
For now,
for
of
now,
course, yeah. of
because
course.
because again, it is still better than a lot of the swords, and even the do nothing swords are expensive. So
True.
this,
Yep.
this is easily going to be like at 15, $20 really soon.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other cards from this bunch that you guys want to see?
So I would like to highlight the invasion of like the basically the battle cards, because the transcendent message is just trash. It's just an X spell that draws you cards and it has convoke. But the invasions are pretty cool, especially the colorless ones. But I would like to talk about the invasion of Fiora, right? It's Fiora. It's basically a board wipe. It's a 4 colorless and 2 black, and when it enters the battlefield, choose one or both. Destroy all legendary creatures or destroy all non-legendary creatures. So yeah, you can choose to keep your stuff if you have legendary stuff that matters. And then when you kill it, you get Marchesa, Resolute Monarch, and she is a 3/6 Menace Death Touch. When she attacks, remove all counters from to one target permanent. Which we have to make sure if it synergizes with the sieges, which I think they do. So that means if you just attack, you take out all the counters, and then you can cast the battle siege that you put on the opponent already. Or if not, you can destroy a planeswalker while you're just attacking. The other thing is at the beginning of your upkeep, if you haven't been dealt combat damage since your last turn, you draw a card and use one life. That's a little bonus, but the important part I think is the first one. And since it has Menace and Death Touch, you're probably gonna be swinging with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, will it take Invasion of Tolvada?
Which I don't know where the hell that plane says. I've never heard of that one.
As it enters the battlefield, choose an opponent to protect it, as you do with all the sieges, right? It costs 3, a white, and a black. It comes into the battlefield, and you return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a 5 mana, like revive something, and then I have to look at the other side. I just can't. I don't have it on me right now. And then that's creature tokens you control get +1/+0 and have lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, you create a 1/1 black spirit creature token with flying.
It's okay.
Exactly.
Yep, it's fine.
It's okay. Fine. I like that it creates the token in your end step, because if it creates it in your upkeep, like it's half a turn too late. So it gives you a blocker. It just feels like they just gave Atraxa another option. Like this is what I was referring to earlier. Like this is what you can play in an Atraxa deck, and it just
because the baseline is always 5 mana for a revival spell. So this is a revival spell with upside, because if you actually get to destroy it, then your creatures, and then you're going to get creatures at the end step. So it's basically a bear blossom.
What are you bringing back? You're bringing back an Atraxa. It's a 7/7 flyer.
Exactly.
Like you put this onto the battlefield to bring that Atraxa back. There's a very low % chance that your opponent can deal with it. Swing in for 7.
Yep.
If you don't feel like winning the game, I guess you can smack the invasion.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yep, I agree. So then this one is the one I wanted to talk about, the colorless one. So it's Invasion of Ravnica. Curiously enough, it's colorless. So it's a 5 colorless one. So it says when Invasion of Ravnica enters the battlefield, I think it's exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls that isn't exactly 2 colors. So basically, because in Ravnica flavor, anything that's not 2 colors, you get to basically exile it. Yeah, no problem. When you destroy it, it flips for Guild Pack Paragon. It's a construct. It's a 5/5. Whenever you cast a spell that's exactly 2 colors, look at the top 6 cards from your library. You will reveal a card that's exactly 2 colors from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest of the bottom of your library in a random order. So basically, it's essentially the best colorless removal spell that we have, because I remember back in, I think, one of the Ravnica, one of the Zendikar sets, I think back in the day, I think it was Battle.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. We still have the sorcery from Strixhaven.
Oh God.
Same thing, except it's a sorcery. Actually, same thing. It just straight up exiles a creature, I think.
But it's a creature. This is a non-land permanent. That's what I'm saying. Like in terms of removal, like it's better than the one that 7 costed, which I think it was in Battle for Zendikar. It's like a set a while ago.
But that's like a board wipe.
No, it's not a board wipe. No, I'm not talking about All Is Dust. I'm talking about. I think it's Scour or something. I think it's an
know
instant.
which one you're
or like it's a 7 costed one, and it exiles target permanent, I believe. But this one is non-land permanent, so it's a lot of things. It's 5 costed, and sure, it's for something that isn't exactly 2 colors. This is also permanent, which is also rare, but yes, that's true. Yeah, we've been talking about that basically. These are all very useful because they're all permanents, and so it destroys it exiles something that isn't 2 colors. So basically, a bunch of things you can exile, no problem, for 5, and it's basically going to be like an auto include, at least in sideboards, if it's that solid. And then on the flip side, if you have a Niv Mizzet Reborn deck, you get Guild Pack, you get Niv Mizzet Reborn, and you just go into town, because this isn't a once per turn thing. You can keep chaining these cards are exactly two colors.
Okay. So here we go. We
Yeah, go ahead.
got Scour from Existence. Yes,
That's the
comes down
one I
for
was talking
7.
about.
Exile target permanent. Hey, this
Yes,
one can
sir.
exile lands. Fuck you.
True for 7. True. If you're doing that, you
Then
better
we
be
got
winning.
Introduction of Annihilation, which
Yes.
it exiles target non-land permanent, but its controller gets to draw a card.
Yes. Gross. Disgusting.
We're not going to give people cards. That's
Never.
disgusting. Play
Yep.
Invasion of
There's
Ravnica
a
instead,
reprint of
and
Monastery
be
Mentor.
limited
There's
to
a
the things
reprint
not
of
having to be
Monetary
exactly two
Mentor.
colors.
Invasion of Ikoria
Yep.
is interesting.
Ikoria is it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The front side, I think it was the front side that was kind of cool, or the back side. The back side wasn't that good. Maybe the front side was decent. Yeah.
Front side says the following. Let me see. I can't read it here, but I'm gonna read it on my other side.
Sure.
Let me bring this a little
Which
bit much more
is that
closer.
for?
So it
Alright.
says when Invasion of Ikoria enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less and put it into the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle your library.
Yeah.
It's green and X, and then it has the Silrath Apex of Ikoria is an 8/8 dinosaur with reach. For each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't block.
Yeah, I think the interesting part of out of most of these battle cards is that the baseline is pretty solid. They didn't do like the Strixhaven thing, which I understand why they did it, but they didn't do the Strixhaven thing with the lessons where they valued the card and then they added like an extra mana to it to make it basically unplayable because they knew that since it was basically an extra card, they didn't want to make it too powerful. These ones they were like thinking, okay, the opponent has to hit it to get the extra value, but we can't nerf them so badly that they're unplayable. So I like that most of these have a baseline where if this was just a normal sorcery card, most people would just play it outright because the value is already there. And then on the
It's
added
pretty
side,
good. Like this is just a slightly worse finale of Devastation. I mean,
exactly.
you're just looking for a card. Actually, I would say, what's the name of the other one?
Green Sun Zenith.
The one that has Convoke.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Genesis.
Court
You
Calling.
get the deal.
Court
I like that
Calling.
I like that it's not limited to color as well. Like that's really good.
That's really good. Yep. It's just technically not human, but come on. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So at a baseline level, it's already pretty solid. So you're just getting extra value.
Finally, a freaking tutor that fish can't use. Oh,
exactly. Haha. What a miracle.
I would say that Invasion of Tarkir. This is the only card that I actually did read because of the Maw, because Maw is a card that already existed as a creature. It was a 4-drop. The fact is a 2-drop. It's interesting. So Invasion of Tarkir does the following. Let me bring this mic back again next to me. When Invasion of Tarkir enters the battlefield, reveal any number of dragon cards from your hand. When you do, Invasion of Tarkir deals X damage +2 to any other target where X is the number of cards revealed this way.
also, is that a completed Culligan in the art?
No, this is a Defiant Thundermaw. It was a card back in I think it was in Tark in it was
No,
Tarkir.
not the Thundermaw. The Thundermaw is like a good guy. I'm talking about the other side.
This one?
It's
Or
Oj.
this
No, it's
Oh,
Ojitai. Is he fighting Culligan? Like a completed Culligan?
I guess if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Because that looks sick. That looks absolutely sick.
Then Defiant Thundermaw, a flying trample. This one they changed it because the original one, I think it's whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it would deal 2 damage to any target. But this one is whenever a dragon you control attacks, it deals 2 damage to any target. So this is pretty cool. I like it.
Really good. I think that card is actually solid in a dragon deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just easy to get across. Like you're playing flyers, like you want to play flyers. All dragons fly. Well, not all dragons fly, but most dragons fly, and then just it's easy to smack in for 5 damage with dragons. Also, I did want to mention just for shits and giggles. I'm not happy with the only thing that makes me not happy about the Invasion of Ikoria card is that the backside, the like the creature is being called the apex of Ikoria, and he's a
I see.
plain old dinosaur.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's true.
Like in the picture, you have a pink shark dude, like a giant pink shark dude thing with green stuff on it.
Yeah,
And on the other side, you have like a mantis Phyrexian soldier mabobber,
yeah.
right? And you got all these like amazing looking beasts, and then the apex of Ikoria, the thing that is like the top
Just the
predator,
dinosaur. Yeah.
is
It's just a
just
dinosaur.
a fucking
It
T-Rex.
should have been like a bunch of keywords, just like so tiny you can't even read them because it's a mutated, gigantic.
It's just mutated like all of the things into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just a ball.
Like,
Like
They
you
could
know
have
the
they could have
it-
at least given me like a dinosaur cat. You know what I mean? Like at least make
Yeah.
it like an apex predator of like ridiculous proportions.
Remember that PlayStation game where you have to roll the ball and like grab all the things from the office? I forgot.
Katamari Damashi.
Yeah, so just basically just a ball of just all the Ikoria
Holy
creatures
cow,
into
man.
one.
Dude, I was I was talking to my wife because Boom Studios launched a new Kickstarter to get the compendiums of the first run of the Power Rangers comic books in hardcover if you want to, right? So, and one of the tiers is that you get like the Angel Grove like jacket. The thing is that I just noticed Power Rangers is celebrating 30 years. The first
Mhm.
episode aired when I was 2 years old. I looked
Yeah.
at it, I'm like, holy shit, I'm old. Jesus.
Yeah.
Thunder Maw region. Yeah, that's the dragon that I was
Yep.
saying.
Yeah.
Coming to these I'm gonna call them companion cards because really that's what they are.
Yeah.
There's some of these I
You gotta
really do
call them
like
the
them.
crossovers.
The crossover cards.
Crossovers.
This is the multiverse cards.
Yeah.
The multiverse cards. We're getting more multi. I'm gonna be honest, and it's gonna be sounding very cruel by my side, but we're getting more multiverse thing than Marvel has given us with the past movies.
True. Yep. Facts. Facts.
Rankle entered the fool and the betrayer.
Yep.
Yeah,
That hurts me.
I like Rankle
That
and
hurts
and
me.
Torbrand. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very cool
Fuck
card.
Rankle specifically, but
Flying First Strike haste whenever Rankle and Torbrand deal combat damage to a player, or battle. Choose any number. Oh my god! Each player creates a treasure token. Each player sacrifices a creature. If a source would deal damage to a player or battle this turn, it deals that much damage plus two instead, and it's 5 mana, two black and two red. I like it. And it's a 3/4. It's very
Yep.
interesting. Very interesting
the
card.
only the only way to really get like a kick out of his third ability though is by putting double strike on him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that just kind of like makes me a little sad. But other than
Yeah.
that, fun card. Very
Circle and Ojutai is also pretty solid. Yeah. The Jeskai 2 4/4 Orc Dragon Flying Haste. Surgo and Ojutai has hexproof as long as it entered the battlefield this turn, and you're going to be attacking with it, so it's going to be protected at least one turn.
Yeah.
Whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle, which is interesting. Look at the top of 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into the bottom of your library in an order. You may return one of those dragons to its owner's hand. So basically, you put in the 99 of a dragon deck, but
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's pretty solid.
Mhm.
We got one of the sharks from
Baral and
Sharknado.
Zevdo.
Yeah.
Hey, no. We're gonna pause on that shark in a minute. Let's just like look at
Wanna talk
Baral
about
and
Baral?
Zeb real quick. Yeah. You got
Disappointed.
First Strike and Menace. It's whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, you may cast a spell with lesser converted mana value that shares a card type with it from your hand without paying its mana cost. If you don't, create First Mate Ragavan, a legendary red monkey pirate creature token. It gains haste until the end of the turn. That creature token should have at least had Ragavan's ability.
Yes,
I'm
that's what I
saying.
was exactly what was missing.
You know
It was
what?
almost there.
even if you didn't give it specifically Ragavan's ability, that creature token should at least have an ability, because otherwise you're not doing anything with this creature. Like this absolutely sucks. You could justify that. Nah, you can't justify anything. This only triggers on your first instant or sorcery spell. Like this
you can't even go off with it.
Yeah. Like there's no way. There's just no way.
You should have given that Ragavan be able to give you a treasure token or something.
Yeah,
even if
just
it was
something
tapped,
simple. It didn't have to be something like extremely good. It just had to give you some kind of value. But a 2/1 with haste just doesn't really do much in terms of value. It doesn't even. It just has haste. It doesn't even have like menace or anything. It's not big enough to like kill anything. It's not big enough. Like it's.
Yeah. It's very disappointing.
You want to talk about the shark?
Superfoot, like, just looks like a waste of a rare slot. Chrome Host Seed Shark. This is exactly like the Sharknado card we had like whatever ago, but it's just appropriately costed, I would say, at 3 mana. It gives you a 2/4 flyer. It's easier to remove than its predecessor, but it's its predecessor on a stick with an extra step. However, just going again to the same thing, you're just every time you're countering your opponent's spells, every time you're interacting with your opponent, every time you're drawing cards in your opponent's turns. Because if you're playing blue, why are you drawing on your turn if you're not desperate? You know what I mean? Every time you interact with your opponent, you're getting a potential blocker on board, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger as the game goes on.
That's solid.
I enjoy it.
It's a solid
for
card.
3 mana. It's a 2/4 flying
artifacts.
God, it's already good. It's so good on the baseline.
Urza would love this.
Yes,
just cast a non-creature spell, make another artifact. You just make mana sources for playing mana sources.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
That's spicy.
It's ridiculous.
It's spicy as hell. Grafted Butcher I wanted to mention because it's a Phyrexian Lord, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really
important. It's going to be really relevant for those who want to get like the white black commander deck, like I was talking about earlier. Freaking excellent. It has a sacrifice mechanic in it, which is great. You can just bring him back. Not a sacrifice mechanic. Sorry, just like sacrificing like one of your stuff to bring him back, so it gives you recursion like right off the bat. That's about it. Like when he enters the battle. Oh, I didn't notice his ETB.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Phyrexians,
I completely ignored his ETB, bro. Wow.
Gives a menace when he hits the battlefield. Yeah.
Okay. I like it even more now. This is great. This is great.
Okay, so we have an uncommon Siege, Invasion of Dominaria. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life and draw a card. And then you can get Sarah Faithkeeper, a 4/4 flying vigilance angel.
It's drawing white.
It's drawing. If we're
drawing
3
white.
mana,
you got to pay 3 mana, but you're still drawing cards in white. It's not even at instant speed.
Exactly.
You get to draw a card.
I'd rather play Revitalize. It gives me 3 life instead, and I still draw a card.
Still draw a card and instant speed too.
So I guess if you can like flicker target permanent, you could like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, gain life, draw your cards. Maybe.
Yeah. This is interesting, but damn.
PP, if you will.
That's a lot of mana to create 5 tokens.
Yeah, it's like a fixed Kiki Jiki. So
yeah, but you say that's a lot of mana to create 5 tokens, but if you're making tokens with this dude, you're gonna win. You know what I mean?
True.
Like
that's
like a win ability. Like if you're using that much mana on this guy, you're gonna win.
Yeah.
And his first ability, I think, is pretty solid. So
we got Mountain Cycling back. This card has Mountain Cycling and backup as well.
Yeah.
Crag Smasher Yeti.
Go
just
ahead.
has all the things on it. Let's just put all the keywords in.
All the keywords. All the delicious keywords.
Surak and Gourd Claw, another joint. Other creatures you control have trample. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on it, and it gains haste until end of turn for 6 mana. Legendary creature, human bear. Great addition to for somebody that's like me that is building a bear commander. This is a great addition for that. What else do we have here?
Terror
you got
lets you.
Worst Sun Titan.
True. It's exactly that.
Terror
So
of
we're
Tawashi.
yeah, it's a worse Sun Titan, but you know, it
It comes
reanimates
down to 4
basically
though.
anything. Yeah, it
Mhm.
reanimates
Comes
whatever.
down to
So
4 and reanimates whatever. That's
mhm.
Yeah,
you essentially have a
works.
guaranteed reanimation spell every time you get to attack with him.
Exactly.
And he's
Yeah.
he's a 4/3. He has Death Touch.
Mhm.
Like not a lot of people want to block your big Death Touch creature.
Exactly.
From
That's true.
experience, it just seems like nobody wants to touch the Death Touch guy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
interesting that a
is
bunch
true.
of the uncommons and commons have cycling for lands, like swamp
Yeah.
cycling, plain cycling. I noticed that, so it's interesting they
These
kind
are
of injected
cards.
that.
These are cards that are going to be good for limited.
Of course, yeah,
You
They're
know,
gonna be
it's
good
a.
and limited, and it's also gonna be fun to try and reanimate these in
Mhm.
limited.
That's
yes,
true.
Using
Yes.
I'm gonna use 5 mana to bring my vanilla 5/5 onto the battlefield.
Yep.
Yep, that's true. Any cards that you guys want
Essence of
to?
These are a
Orthodoxy.
bunch
First
of
off, it's a
commons.
rare, and second, we're just playing again with the whole theme of the incubate thing.
Mhm.
Yep.
Whenever, again, I can't stress this enough. Whenever Essence of Orthodoxy enters the battlefield, or another Phyrexian enters the battlefield, you incubate.
Mhm.
You just keep duplicating the amount of Phyrexians you're playing. If only that thing didn't cost 5, it would be freaking ridiculous. If that thing
That's
costed
true.
3, that would be a mythic.
Mhm. That's true. We have a couple
So
of
commons,
commons,
just draft shaft.
and yeah,
Oh,
these are the
Oh
what is
wait,
that?
the
Hoarding.
hoarding brood
Yeah, I don't know
lord.
what the
Hoarding
hell
Yes,
that
Brute
is.
Lord.
he has
Okay.
convoke, brother.
Yes. Okay.
I don't
When
know
it
if
Rangers.
anyone wants to
enters the
like start using that.
battlefield, search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may play it. Spells you cast from exile have convoke.
Is this like an arena card? No, it's not an arena card. It's
It's
like
not
a
an arena
normal
card.
ass
The
card.
thing is,
Oh,
it's like an arena text
I think no.
essentially,
This
yeah.
is
I
a
think
this
it
is
because they
but the
spoiled it
this
in
set
is a
arena.
symbol is
spoiled
all like
arena card.
normal.
It's a
Yeah,
spoiled arena card.
Yeah, that's why. That's why.
but if
Yeah, no,
this
no.
is
Yeah.
real, this is insane.
It's
No,
yeah, it's
this
pretty
the
strong.
thing is that okay, so I haven't checked
I
my
tapped
email,
5
but
Shadowborn
sometimes Arena
Apostles.
sends spoilers via email.
Ah, gosh, this is
Mm.
one of those. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
it has to be. It has to be. Yeah,
Oh, I want to see what
because
I
it
got
doesn't
then.
have like the A for alchemy. Because it usually has
Exactly.
like a little A with like a whatever.
hmm
It doesn't have that, so that has to be like one of those cards you just MTG Arena spoiled. That's pretty
Hmm.
solid. Letting you basically tutor a thing, and it has convoke too. Yeah, that's solid. It's expensive tutor, but it has convoke, so you can get it pretty down pretty quickly with a body, which is pretty strong. Okay, joyful sculpture
I
just
just
battlefield.
checked the email, but it doesn't bring the
Yeah, probably was like
spoiler.
it gave it to someone else, or maybe it was like an article or something in
Hmm.
Arena. They're gonna be spoiling more stuff during the next couple of days for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, I want to see the other Praetors and see what their sagas entail. That'd be kind of cool. I want to
Same
see what
here.
the other multiverse cards are gonna be included in this set because we got a few more spoiled. I think there was a lot of new borders that got spoiled too. We got borders that we never seen before from the other planes. I think I saw the Dominaria one, and I saw which one did I see? I think I saw the Concert Tarkir one too. So
There's a couple of borders. The
like new
borders that
ones
I have
you
shown.
never
Yeah.
seen before because like for example the Dominaria one we never saw that because like for the Fibblethip they did the border and it's
Hmm.
Dominaria related and I think it was like city scrapes going upwards, so it's
Yeah.
interesting definitely.
Yeah. This set is promising. I think that we have a lot of a lot of friends that were like, "Oh, I'm gonna stop playing Magic now," and then this set started spoiling cards,
Yeah,
and they were like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna stick a little while longer to play some Magic." You
yeah,
know, this set looks very promising. I think it looks fun, especially the having so many cards that have like color combinations that you were like, oh yeah, I can make this as a commander, like Rankle and Torbrand. It's very interesting. The set. At least the set looks interesting and promising.
yeah.
I do hope that there's more to come. I know that the other card that was I, the other things that are coming in this set as well are the numbered serial cards are
Yes,
coming
and
back.
they kind of show you already. I think the G-Taxis and the Yellishnor has
Hmm.
like 1 out of 500, so they're going to be
Yeah.
serialized too. I think they are ruining this idea so quickly because they're so hungry for money. These cards are not going to be worth anything because now they're not as special as people once thought. So initially, when they did it in Brothers War, people were like, "Okay, so this is gonna be like a thing they're gonna do once in a while." But it's clear that's not the case.
Yeah.
They've already like showed us they're doing that in Lord of the Rings. They're doing this in this set. They're probably gonna keep doing this, and now they're not special. They're not special anymore. So please do not waste your money on these unless you get them for a very good deal. Then sure, I guess. But if not, they're really not. This is not worth it. They're not worth it at all.
So,
I sent you the link for the borders
okay.
so you can see them very quickly, and there's the full art lands too if you want to check them. But yeah, they show you like the other borders you haven't seen for the other cards. You're basically at the top.
Especially with the like limited whatever cards. It's just I just feel like it's just not worth getting them in most contexts.
Yeah.
Because you have like all the other versions unless you're like a super like mega collector that really just wants to like have absolutely everything. Like there's pretty much no reason to.
Basically, I agree fully. So as you can see, the Philfip has not the Dominaria remaster, like not the Dominaria United one. It's like the Dominaria border, like the normal one. So that one right there, the one to the side with the Fibblefip.
I don't see it.
Because we already seen the Dominaria,
okay.
like the Dominaria United one. Remember that one? There was like the crystal.
Yeah, it's like stained glass.
Yes, this one isn't. It's just literally like the buildings rising up. So it's really cool that they actually thought. And that you see the Concert Tarkir one with the Surgo and the Ojutai. That's the Concert Tarkir border. So they basically thought of all the borders for basically all the planes that they wanted to include in this set. So I appreciate it. It's gonna be
the Strixhaven one is there too. It looks sick.
exactly.
Like,
They have all of them. They counted for all of them
because they even have Constellation,
and they have for the future ones, which is the Ixalan one. When we go back to Ixalan, you already have the spoiler for what that's going to look like. So I appreciate that they had the foresight to make a border for each one of them, even the ones that they haven't probably won't even see for years down the line. But I appreciate that they did that. Even though it's not visually cohesive, because I feel this is a theory. I want to throw it out right now because we still haven't seen this set. I fear very heavily that this is going to be a disaster in terms of how they're going to put the cards in this. I feel like there's going to be a lot of printing errors because there's so many different like borders to account for. I don't even know how the sheets look like. They must be like a disaster, those sheets, because it's going to be like if you cut it like a bit to the side, you're going to start seeing borders from other shit very quickly. So I feel like this is going to be a disaster.
They do have pretty good spacing usually, so I'm not too worried
we'll
about
see.
that.
We'll see.
It is going to be funny though if you get like to open up a mythic and it has like the art of like the next mythic or something. It's like
that would
that's
be
what
funny.
I'm saying. It'd be kind of like I don't know how they, because I feel like they've mentioned years ago that this type of thing of having different art styles in terms of the sheets was a problem. That's why they couldn't just go overboard. Like for example, that's why they couldn't do like double face cards because of the sheets and all of that. But you have like double face cards. You have
double
like
face cards.
Yeah, there's a lot of double face cards. There's a lot of like different borders, extended art stuff. Like, man, it's like insane. And
you
you have
imagine
these ones too.
having Teferi printed in Invasion
That's
of the
what I'm saying.
no.
That's what I'm saying. Like it could just. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of printing mistakes in this set. I really do feel
I
it's gonna
understand
have
what Orengo is saying, and I think that it might happen.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So if someone pulls like super rare Ginty taxes at the fairies behind him, like that's gonna be worth more money than a serialized card.
Exactly.
Just like a Jin and an Elish, just like
right? Yeah, exactly.
An Elish Norn with Jin's backside.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It'd be so.
No,
funny.
I'd say it would just be even worse if it was just like just the Elish Norn and the Jin.
In the Jin together. Oh,
you
God.
just sacrifice 3 other creatures and you get a Jin tax.
That's great.
I guess that it's cool that we having different type of like artwork for the cards, but at the same time, I will just say that it's too much. You know, it's too much in one set, and even in previous sets, like you have the extended art, you have the showcase, and then you have this other foiling, and then this other foiling. It just like, okay, cool. Like then when you go to TCG players, sometimes you go ahead and you're like, oh, I want to buy this card, but then you have to buy the artwork. If you're looking at budget, right? If
Mhm.
then you're like, oh, I want the normal art. Oh, but the normal art is more expensive than the showcase or the extended. You're like, oh man, I have to just buy the extended or buy the showcase. I don't want to, but yeah, I'm gonna buy it because I'm on a budget.
Yeah.
It is good in a way because you can fluctuate prices, but at the same time, it's just too much. It is too much.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, if you go to TCG Player, you put Sensei's Divining Top, and you have to make sure if you're looking for the borderless to pick the borderless one because it's not going to appear in the listing of all the other Sensei's Divining Tops that are listed in TCG Player. I don't know. I guess that we have to see how it goes. How people how the players how that pull rate is going to be when
Mhm.
the set comes out. It's interesting. The set sounds interesting. I'm not gonna say that I love it because not all the cards are spoiled, but it's really interesting. We just have to wait until those rulings for mechanics, and see how it goes. How about you guys? What do you
Oh
guys think
yeah,
about the set?
did you zoom in on like the arts of the lands though? They look friggin' amazing.
Yeah, the full art, like basically Phyrexia all over these planes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lore wise, I know that people are gonna get a kick out of that.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
they are beautiful.
Yeah. Other than that, things I gotta say about the set. Um, in terms of art, one of the prettier sets. Definitely, I like a lot of what's going on. Um, I like that it also like having like this mishmash of like planes and everything. It's fun to see that the art style of all of them just retains a lot of the elements of its original plane while still having us like the color palette that really just makes it feel like you know this is another set. This is not from the Innistrad set clearly. However, you by looking at it, even if you were only familiar with the art styles and not the characters somehow, um, you would still be able to like clearly identify what it is. So I do very much enjoy that. The only thing that I do have to say, and it doesn't have directly to do with the set, just partially to do with the Magic story in itself. I feel like we should have gotten another set. I feel that instead of uh March of Machines Aftermath, like what is Aftermath now should have been the like the finale of the set in general, not a 50 card set, just a full like finale set, and
Mhm.
that we should have had a Phyrexians, like essentially like a Phyrexian, like the actual Phyrexian invasion of the multiverse set, and then also have the downfall of the Praetors like set. Because in
Gotcha.
terms of Magic story, for those of you who are not already aware, it's the end of it. Like the
Hmm.
Praetors are all dead now, as you saw with the case of the art with Karn holding up Elishnorn's head.
Yeah.
There's a few issues with pacing in my opinion. For those of you who don't already know like the story, last time we left off, the planeswalkers made it to Phyrexia. They a huge number of them got completed. So we was like Tybalt, Tyvar escaped. You got like Nissa, Jace, Vrashka, and like all the other planeswalkers, Nahiri, and all the other planeswalkers that got completed. I felt like it was a huge cop out story wise. The completed planeswalkers, at least from what we know, Nissa and Ajani's Phyresis got reversed,
Mm.
which I feel like takes away from the entire point of what felt so impactful of you, like having these planeswalkers go through Phyresis. Like it just okay, cool. Like it just didn't matter. You're just
Yeah.
gonna find a cure. Like it's the equivalent of like having like a whole zombie apocalypse drama, and like is it really a zombie apocalypse if at the end of the movie you just find the cure and then everything goes back to normal? Like
Yeah. There's no
is it
Hmm.
consequences.
is it
Yeah.
really an apocalypse? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like you had consequences when all you did was just simply go, oh well, never mind, now they're cured.
Yeah. Yeah.
In if I don't I don't want to make it sound that way, but if Wizards of the Coast and their team of writers had the time and actually knew what to do with their stories and just kept a coherent team, maybe they could expand on the fact that Ajani and Nissa were completed and went on to kill like thousands of like innocent people throughout the multiverse. And they would expand on maybe like, I don't know, the trauma that it would cause you to not be in control of your actions and to slaughter like hundreds of thousands of innocents.
Yeah.
Problem is we won't.
No.
Problem is we most likely will not.
Yep.
We won't see that because they're changing the team of writers. Like unless the next team of writers is like closely working with the first one or at least have some like I don't think we're gonna see much on that end. And again, just the way in which the sets were released, I think was bad for story pacing. I don't know if like they planned the sets first and then they planned out the story. Like I don't know how they handled that. I just feel like there's a little bit of disconnect in between lore and set, and I'm not talking about the two having to be uh like the most closely knit thing together ever, but
Do you think they needed to do like a 2 block set to be able to, like in general, prior to this Merchant of the Machines? Do you think it would have been better,
yes,
like they did with Innistrad, which they
I
kind of did like
feel
a little 2 block set?
I feel like at minimum, we should
Mhm.
have gotten one more set in the Phyrexian conflict, just to
Okay.
have a set in which you truly get to explore, like what the invasion of like what does like a multiverse wide invasion of one of the most like
Hmm.
right under slivers, one of the most invasive as species like that's ever
Yeah.
been in the multiverse, and then just have a set in which the downfall of the Praetors feels much more impactful.
You mean
Um,
something like Cat?
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, having like your proper like, oh, we get to Amonkhet, we see the whole thing, blah blah blah, and
And
then
an
like
hour
the
of the
big the
station.
big bad
Gotcha.
yeah, like the
Exactly.
big
Yeah.
finale.
Yeah.
Because with that with Dominaria, with the Dominaria set, you got the beginning of the battle, and that was kind of like fine, and then you have all of the planeswalkers, but like the main battle wasn't when the planeswalkers arrived for the well first third time in Phyrexia.
Hmm.
That was literally just like the opener for setting it up for what's going on now. So why would you just cut the conflict? Like it's like you brought it to its peak, and instead of bringing it back down at the same like at a good pace, you just kind of dropped it and you went, oh, like the Phyrexians won. What are we doing with this now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, suddenly they start losing. What? Yeah, like uh Urbrask pissed off Elish,
Yeah.
so she tore him apart.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Like we all knew Urbrask was kind of a traitor. That's fine. Yeah, and then then like Sheoldred just kind of did her shit and got too greedy, and then Elish was like, "Hey, Ajani, cut her head off." Okay, I can expect that. Come on, I can. Ah,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like ah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So then Vorinclex just gets frozen in time by Teferi, just like just gets to do his thing, and then just gets stabbed by random soldier 302.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't get like a cool death. He doesn't get like a legendary like a legendary character that had like an issue with Vorinclex. There's nothing. There's like zero closure. It's just like, oh, he's dead now. Um Jin-Jataxius and Elish Norn, in my opinion, just had the stupidest deaths. Elish Norn basically died because of her own hubris, because essentially at the moment in which she just kind of turns her back to Jin-Jataxius, in the middle of the battle with not only like, the entirety of the multiverse, decides, hey, now when like my army and Elish's army and like everything, when everybody's having a hard time, I'm gonna try to betray Elish Norn.
Yeah.
The blue Praetor, the Praetor that's the most focused on like the long-term planning of things and like the really convoluted like plans and plots, is the guy who hastily betrayed Elish. Like it just feels so rushed. Some of these things just feel a little bit out of character for each of the Praetors. Like Vorinclex is a beast that just tears things apart, but he's not stupid either. He's not just gonna see Teferi and be like, I'm gonna run into the time controlling planeswalker. Like I've never seen him before.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's just well,
I
on my
think
case, I'm done. I'm done complaining about that at
I
least.
think I think I feel like the problem that we face is that there used to be 3 block sets, but I know people complain because when they got to the third set in terms of mechanics, they were already kind of bored because it was already like we were basically half a year with the same mechanic. Well, actually more, like basically a year with these mechanics. We want to like shorten it up. So then they decided to do like the 2 block set. The 2 block set, I think, was the right approach. The problem with the 2 block set is that they treated them like in the mechanic wise. I'm talking about we'll get to lore soon, but mechanic wise, they would divide the mechanics into 2 different sets instead of interweaving them because we're in the place for like 2 sets. They should have at least interwoven them a little bit better, and they didn't. So then, after I think War of the Spark, they started doing single block sets, and I think that was a problem because now they were trying to rush all these mechanics and all the story that should have taken at least half a year to kind of like set up in like 3 months. So I can understand what you're saying because then, for example, the Innistrad one, they took a little bit of time in Innistrad and they helped you kind of like weave together the stuff that was happening in Innistrad, and we got a good sense of it. And even though mechanic wise the things were split apart, at least there was some overlap in terms of story, in terms of mechanics, and then you could kind of like take a little bit of break and a little bit of time there. I think, and I know they're not going to do it, but I think the best approach was when they were doing 2 block sets. But I wish when they do the 2 block sets, mechanic wise, they would keep the same mechanics throughout the 2 sets, so you have a good chunk of cards that you can interact with and not be able to like hodgepodge stuff from like Ikoria and Innistrad and Kaladesh and just make a deck. Lore wise, I understand what you mean. Like I wish now that I know the context of the story, it would have been much better to have like this since it's the big finale. Like we know this is gonna be very huge in terms of like mechanic wise and lore wise. They should have just had like a 2-parter thing going
Yeah,
on to like
you
August.
can
Yeah.
have the first set be called the March of the Machines, and then second set the downfall of Phyrexia.
Yeah,
That could have been the second set.
Yeah.
And then the second set you could have like done like what they did with Hour of Devastation. You would see your heroes on their downfall, but in this case it would be the predators on their downfall.
Yeah.
So it would be it would have been great, you could have kept everything that you're seeing right now in the March of the Machines, but then in the fall of Phyrexia you would see like Elish Norn's defeat, Jingitax's defeat.
it's kind of like what they did with like War of the Spark, having the two Ravnica blocks that set up the whole situation, the whole plot,
Yeah.
and then you have your finale, but you have 2 whole sets to do so.
Exactly.
I feel like here, because of like the complexity of like a multiplanar invasion, I think it was kept a little short.
I think they tried to make it seem like all will be one was that set setting up that, but I don't think they did enough setup for that.
No.
Because you what I feel like it was, this is my last thing. What I think was clever about them weaving what was going to be the imminent threat was putting these praetors slowly over the span of 2 years. I think that was clever. I think that hinting at you the praetors over these last 2 sets was brilliant move. But then they were like, oh my god, we need to like finish this now. I felt like they were like, we need to finish this now because by August we need to be back in Ikoria, we need to do like other shit, and we can't be dealing with this anymore. So we like to like push through and do all these set right now. And I think that was the problem. Like they were setting up everything very well, and like you said, they kind of like dropped it at the end.
No, yeah. I think that what we can do is that I think that me and Chris were talking about it on the backup chat, that for future shows, if we don't have news, we'll just make topics about lore, and that's not a bad idea. Talk about lore and talk about things that we see like in local game stores and whatnot. So let's go ahead and say our goodbyes. Thanks for everybody that joined us, that talked on the chat. Remember, if you have not followed us on Twitch, go ahead and follow us on Twitch and in all of our social media as well. I didn't say it at the start of the show because normally our intro gives the information, but Alter Sleeves, altersleeves.com/cardboard cave. use our affiliated link or our code Cardboard Cave to get 5% off your order, and you will be supporting the show as well. There's more to come here in the Cardboard Cave. We're actually in talks with the guys. Tomorrow I was going to go live on Arena, but I'm going live next week. Uh, Due to that, tomorrow I'm gonna go hang with the fam uh, in the art walk in Rincon. So let's go ahead and say our round table, say our goodbyes. Orengo, where can the people find you?
You can find me here with you guys talking about Sweet Sweet Cardboard, but you can also find me in Cinemas Podcast, cinemaspodcast.com. You can also find me on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Uh, I recently did an episode talking about Shazam with another content creator called Chichando, and I also talked about John Wick with again another content creator called Cultura Geek PR. So you guys want to know my thoughts about the new movies that came out? Just go to my link tree or go to my Instagram, and you'll find the links there.
Chris, where can the people find you?
Yeah.
Well, you can find me in all of our social media essentially, and you can also find me on my Twitch every once in a while. And I've been meaning to like get on Twitch and stream some more content because I have been playing some more Magic Arena, but I haven't gotten to it, and I should. I really should.
Yeah.
Once again, thank everybody for being here, Mecha Geek for always being around, and for all the people that are going to be listening and watching this show. We love you very much. Check out a lot of our social media. Check out Orengo, and more importantly, check out John. Where can the people find you?
So you can find me in realinfilms.com as well. I have Instagram, Spotify, uh, Facebook, and YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is little by little getting updated, where we have around two new interviews on the. Well, one of them is already up. That is an interview with the director and the producer of the documentary, The First Step. We talk about how difficult it is to work on a documentary, especially when you're following a politician. How it is a pain for sometimes to get those what do you say, the passes to go to these type of like events or anything. But tomorrow's going to be a fun one because I did speak with the director and writer of the documentary Living with Chucky. An amazing interview that I had and conversation on how the world of Chucky became such an important note in the horror genre, as well how this filmmaker and her dad, that is the main puppeteer of Chucky. So it's a very great conversation that I had. But we're gonna that interview will be up tomorrow, and there's more things that are coming your way in Real In Films, because we're getting our mojos back. I would say. But yeah, you can follow me there as well. Follow us in all of our social media here at the Cardboard Cave Podcast. We will see you guys in the next one.